All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the storm coverage for our rain event with strong winds. We're already seeing that. So, this is going to be a test run to see how this all plays out, making sure everything is working properly. Because what I want to do is set this up really nicely for the winter storms, right? So, I figured today would be a great test run. And so, here's what we have set up, okay? And I will share. Let's see if I do this correctly here. Let's see. Make sure this is set. Okay. So there we are right now. So obviously we're going to have our observations and whatnot. One thing that's going to be different is that I will be taking observations right from X. So as you can see, Bill McKim already provided us big winds now, just 50 miles per hour. It's about 37 minutes ago. So if you have observations that you want to share, definitely make sure this hits up. Definitely make sure that you put them here on X on my feed, and of course I will share them as we go through the live coverage of this event. Also, I will be answering questions only from the premium dashboard. So all the premium subscribers, obviously there isn't much right now. It's a rainstorm. I get it. You know, if this was a snow event, forget about it. This would be filled to the brim with questions. But this is where I'm going to be taking my questions, and normally where I take my questions as we work through the forecast. So if you have questions and you're a premium member, you want to sign into the premium dashboard, go to, in fact, I'll show you just so you know, just so we go through this because we're going to be here for 6 hours. So just so you know, you go to premium dashboard right here. It's very beautiful, very nice. We're actually working on a website update that will be out this November to really streamline and make this really tighter. So I'm looking forward to that. So you hit the live coverage room, come right in, allow. Obviously, the video is running right here, and this is where you ask your questions, and I will answer them. So that is what we have, and of course, when we do have a break, right here, I will put up this sign, coffee break, right? Because I'll have to take a break from time to time. I also want to check in on Susan, all that good stuff, making sure she's okay. And of course, getting my refill of coffee. Got my first coffee of the live chat. I did a mix of a very strong coffee and I forgot what the brand was, and of course hazelnut this time. Later on, I'll do French vanilla. So now we walk through all that. Let's dive into the latest information that we have here. We're going to be focusing primarily on observations as we go on through the afternoon. I also will be doing regular updates, the premium updates I normally do in the afternoon, so you can watch me do that as well. The idea is that you get to see what I am doing live throughout these storms rather than video break-ins. We'll just go and stream out live. And when I need to take a break, I'll put that up and mute the mic, and there we go. So we'll see just how popular this is. Again, we're live on Twitch. I got that right here, so we can follow this over here. So I know that there's a lot of truck drivers and whatnot that really like to use this type of platform as well. So away we go. So let's see what we have here. Again, this is first time. We'll see how it plays out, right? All right, so right now we have strong winds dominating much of the coastal plain. It is very windy here in Freehold. All right, we already had, we're approaching 1 inch of rain. We're over 3/4 of an inch. We're heading towards, let's see, we got about 0.83 inches since the storm started. And the trees here, okay, and this is why I got a generator because in Freehold, I always lose power. Always. Ever since I was like 4 years old. We moved here. Back then, there were just bulls and corn, and we still lost power all the time. Now, I would not be surprised if we lose power in this scenario because you have a lot of leaves that are dying. You have all the rain. The branches are heavier. And now you're talking about, we're easily seeing right now 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts outside right now. And I'm just watching out my window here. This just tree just swaying back and forth against the power line. So there's a chance that I might go offline for a minute. I got power. Hopefully, if the power goes on, I still have the cable and we'll rock and roll while everyone else has lost power. But you can see here just very strong easterly winds, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Obviously, we're not worried about any frozen precipitation here. But you can see some of the observations here with some of the rainfall showing up here, some heavier spots. When we take a look at the weather tap radar, this area right here is what we're focusing on. This is what's going to create our problems for the next 6 hours. You see, what's happening here is that this line is consolidating. And in fact, let's pull up an enhanced level here. We'll pick from the map. Well, hopefully DIX is actually working today. You know how that is. Okay, so this, good. All right, let's see what we have here. Yeah, very impressive line here. This is why I wanted to start at noon, because this is when this was really going to start going. Now, the reason why this is really important is because this is setting up a nice convective line that is going to support the mixing down of the atmosphere. And you can see, as I was saying earlier this morning, as the lifting intensifies, you're going to start to see these blue colors. Now, again, this is separate from Melissa. Very clear, right? But you could see the enhancement. And in fact, now the winds are getting strong enough that it's starting to press up against the wall, the door over here. So it's starting to really set us up. Now I get a southeasterly wind from this direction coming in. This is why I brought in all the Halloween stuff, or else it would have been flying right down the driveway into the street. So you could see the lifting all starting to take shape here very nicely. And just slide this back here. And you can see also on the water vapor satellite picture, the enhancement of this upper level low. Now, this is very interesting right here. This right here. You see this sign here? Let's see if we can zoom in on that. Let me pull this up and do a different look right here. I just saw that. I'm like, oh man, let me zoom in on this. Okay, so here's what's happening. This is why we're seeing the strong wind gust potential and the heavy rainfall. As this trough is going negatively tilted, it's enhancing what we call divergence and diffluence, rising air in the atmosphere. And so what you have here is rapidly rising motion here. How do you know that? In case you are lost and you're not sure whether that's happening, for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're having strong rising air here, you're having strong sinking air here. You can see this very clear line of sinking dry air associated with this couplet of strong rising air. And you also have this separation right here. So the combination of these factors are supporting that rising motion in the atmosphere. Why is that so important? Well, I've mentioned it several times. Why is it such a big deal? Because of this jet streak evolving here, okay, that is driving moisture into the region. In fact, we can see it even better here on the SPC map. Let's zoom in on that, zoom in right on our location here. Look at that. So what's happening, you're having these strong winds at the mid levels of the atmosphere, right? And you're having rising motion and then sinking motion. And that rising motion is also enhancing the heavy rainfall. So the winds within the cumulus cloud is getting mixed down towards the surface, while we also have a pretty good pressure gradient. In fact, let's go to the surface map here real fast. You can see that pressure gradient tightening very nicely. So you have your sustained winds, generally 10 to 20 miles per hour, times pushing up to 25 miles per hour. And then you have your mid-level winds getting mixed down to that. And that is how you're going to get your 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, which we've already observed here in our coverage, which has been very impressive. So you can see that the setup here is playing up very nicely. And then you can see here at the surface, the winds just driving into the coastal plain. So again, that leads to our enhancement of our rainfall. And while we're doing the live coverage, primarily the most data we're going to be looking at is what's going on with the radar and the surface observations. We can use the HRRR guidance, which I'll use in a moment, What I want to do is take a look at the skew T in this scenario via Tropical Tidbits, an excellent website. Definitely check them out. Let's zoom in on, make sure we got new data. Here we are. Okay, so let's take a look at this environment here. So you can see the mid levels here are stable. You got instability here, stable, and an instability here. Here is where you're getting your elevated cape. Okay, so that's where you're getting some of the solutions where you're having cape around 100 joules per kilogram. So your instability is right about here, and you're getting your elevated thunderstorms up in this area right here. Okay, so what's happening with that mixing is that it's allowing these stronger winds here at this level of the atmosphere to mix down. You can see, look at that, 50 knots right there, right around 800 millibars, about 50, 55 knots, 900 millibars, 50 knots. And so when you're having that rising motion and then sinking motion with the heavy rainfall, this is how you get your wind gusts set up. And so that's how you're getting your instability playing out and whatnot. And so the HRR guidance, if I could pull that up here, here we are. Okay, let's update it and make sure we have the latest data. And there you go. So this line right here marches through Philadelphia Metro now, through central and northern New Jersey, northeastern Pennsylvania, New York City after 2 o'clock, let's say after 2:30, on through the evening rush hour or at the start of the evening rush hour. So the start of the evening rush hour is just going to be a complete mess in this setup here. And this is when you can use the HRR. So this is a great time to talk about when to use the proper models, right? A lot of people try to use the HRR beyond 18 hours, which is a big mistake because the resolution goes to hell. So yeah, you can look at it, but I wouldn't trust it. Beyond 18 hours, let's say from 18 hours to 48 hours, use the NAM. You can even go out to 66 hours if you want, but it's kind of pushing it. Anything beyond 66 hours, you definitely want to use a synoptic model like the European guidance or the GFS if you choose to, but the European, Canadian, UK Met, stuff like that. Um, but right now is the time to use the HRR guidance when the evolution's happening right now. And what you want to do is use this in conjunction with the observations. The observations are king, by the way, but the HRR can kind of give you an idea of where things are going. So what we have here is clearly a line that is enhanced here. Let's see if we can get some of the winds associated here. Let's see here. Yeah, look at this. Very nice. You can see we're talking about the higher ends of these winds here. Your radar is about here. So you have your delineation sign, and then you have winds moving away, moving towards the radar. And so what you have here is very strong support for sustained winds in this level, meters per second, which if you translate that to miles per hour, it basically is supporting some very windy conditions and some of your stronger wind gusts here, really pushing the outer bounds here. It's pushing up into this level, up in here and down in here. Now, look, you're not going to get obviously any tornadic activity out of this, obviously, in this scenario. But again, it gives you a pretty good idea of the strength of these winds and the type of wind gusts that we were talking about here. And so there is our line lifting northward. Could take a zoomed out look as well. Now let's see. I'm not expecting any questions, but let's take a look. Excuse me. Let's see what we have here. This is going to be fun because um, honestly, I'm just going to roll like I normally do. You know, I'll share some tidbits. Let's see here. Let's see. Only time I lost power was with Sandy. You're lucky. We don't even have to have bad weather. We just have to have windy conditions around here frequently. For some reason, we lose power. Uh, Will there be severe thunderstorm warnings? Great question. Okay. I don't think so. This is not a severe thunderstorm type scenario. The wind gusts and the winds in general are being driven by synoptic processes, not mesoscale. So I would be awfully surprised to see any type of severe thunderstorm warning. This is a widespread weather event. What that means is it's driven by the pressure gradient between the low pressure system and the high pressure system. And you're not getting it via a mesoscale process like a thunderstorm. And this is more widespread. So literally, if you try to put out a severe thunderstorm warning, it wouldn't work. You'd have to cover the entire state. What you have and what should be in place, which I will share right now, is obviously coastal flood updates and coastal flood watches and warnings. I'm going to share that. That's just been issued by the National Weather Service from Mount Holly. You have a lot of wind advisories all over the region here, so you have plenty of. Let me just show my profile here. I just shared it, the coastal flood advisories and warnings. This makes a lot of sense. You're getting strong southeasterly winds driving right into the coastal plain, leading to your flooding. Now, why do you have coastal flooding here but not here, and all throughout the New Jersey coast but not northern Long Island? The answer is simple. The winds from the east southeast and from the southeast are driving the water into this portion of the coastline. You probably extend that for most of Connecticut, and also the south side of Long Island is pushing away from the north side of Long Island. As far as Staten Island, obviously it's driving right in, and also you're funneling a lot of water into this passage here and into the battery. So that also leads to coastal flooding as well. And of course, Jersey Shore, you're driving the winds in. And I'll tell you this right now, for the barrier islands for tomorrow, and even for the North Shore of Long Island, expect coastal flooding to be a concern there because now you're having strong westerly winds driving all the water the other way around. So that could be a bit of a problem that probably isn't being focused on a lot right now, but I would not be surprised to see that being an issue as we move forward. But I do appreciate everyone watching for the live coverage, especially this. I mean, I get it. It's a rainstorm. It's a good time to test this out. But as you can see here, this is one very impressive storm. One thing I want to share with you guys. I don't know if you know about this, but I am a big sucker for nostalgia. Always have been. And if you want to check something out that I have been having a ball with, I'm not going to play the music right now. I don't want any strikes or anything, but you could listen to the old like jazz music from the 90s with the Weather Channel. And it's, let's see, Weather Star. If you Google Weather Star, you'll be able to find this. And it's just like the old Weather Channel back when I was a teenager. It was great. So I thoroughly enjoyed this just from the nostalgia point. So I just wanted to share that while I have a chance to do so. Let's see here. Moderate to heavy rain the last couple of hours here in Upper Bucks County with a few bolts of lightning. Impressive. So let's see if we can find some of that lightning. Now, I'm already hearing in the background um, at my house, in the back over here, we have a lot of tall trees. It's starting to hear some cracking. So I'll see if there's anything of significance going on back there. Your thunderstorms, probably these elevated thunderstorms right here. Let's zoom in on this. Right about here is probably what you're experiencing right here and right here. These thunderstorms are significantly elevated. So this is why you're not going to see the severe thunderstorm potential. But certainly the strong winds. You can see we just got new observations in. And again, gusts into 32, gusts into 23, gusts into 29. And yeah, yeah, I just got the tree branch over there. We're raining pretty good. We're raining at a moderate rate here, uh, approaching 1 inch. The forecast is between 1.5 and 2.5 inches. We'll see if we reach it. We have been struggling to get to the expected rainfall totals that we've been thinking that we should get. So. Now, is there any influence from Melissa? Okay, so let me answer that real fast. Down here it's Melissa, and the core of the deep tropical moisture is all here as well. Now, this part right here is kind of like the outflow. So you have the outflow here. You also have a trough here associated with this whole long wave trough, which we could look at right here. Here's a whole long wave trough. So you have divergence and diffluence here. Clearly another extratropical load forming out here. In fact, you could see that in, let's see here, the zoomed out. Let me zoom out for a second here. So out here is the warm front. You have another wave of low pressure out here. And then you have your storm back here, right? You can see that very nicely here, that divergence and diffluence. Look at that spread. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Setting up. And then here is, down here is what is left of Melissa getting sheared apart. So let's go back to the water vapor satellite picture. Thank you very much. Okay, so this part of the moisture, you could say the very highest of the atmosphere, we're talking about like 500 to 250 millibars. That aspect of the moisture from the outflow of this storm, somewhat part of Melissa. That's it. As this is lifting to the northeast, it's not going to have time to pull anything of substance. So, yeah, there's going to be a very, very minor connection, but really most of this is being driven by the moisture transport coming out of basically the Gulf of Maine and the northwestern Atlantic, not from Melissa itself. This is going to continue to head on out. It's actually going to pass right about here. You're going to see this moisture. A lot of this was driven by the shortwave that was out here in the southeast that originally turned Melissa to the north in the first place. That's going to continue to head out, and then this storm is going to continue to spiral. And again, you could see very clearly the divergence and diffluence here really setting up. Just absolutely beautiful setup here. Now, in case you're wondering, this would not be a snowstorm if this was in January or or February or even December. And the reason why, southeasterly wind. Here's a general rule. Unless you have like an Arctic air mass that's like, 10 degrees out, once you get an easterly wind, say goodbye to any snowfall chances, especially on the coast. This is a southeasterly wind. Now, if you get a northeasterly wind, game on, because source region matters. Northeasterly wind, you're getting your air masses from central New England. So you're getting a true crisp polar air mass dropping southward. Southeasterly wind, well, you're talking about Bermuda, which isn't exactly the coldest location. So that's why in this scenario, this would be a rain event no matter what time of year that we were talking. You see some enhancement here, and this is about to approach freehold. So we'll get a pretty good idea of the type of rainfall that we're going to be dealing with this event, with this setup here. This is some very heavy rainfall being reported in Philadelphia, lifting up into Allentown. Very impressive indeed. And this is also where we're seeing the enhancement of those stronger winds. So this is where you're going to have your primary mixing zone. This right here is the end of this whole event. So this isn't an all day scenario. I'm going from 12 to possibly 6 because I want to track this whole line lifting northward and keep an eye on it, especially for the New York City Metro and up towards Connecticut and Long Island. So we'll be going with some breaks from time to time. But this right here is the start of the enhancement of this whole setup here. And you can see the radar here just lighting up with more yellows and dark greens. You might even see a few oranges, which means that your DBC is really getting up there and driving this heavy rainfall event. Nice setup indeed. Uh, be a major, will Melissa be a major hurricane when it hits Bermuda? No, I don't believe it will be. In fact, it definitely won't be. It's currently a Category 2 hurricane. Let's see if I can get some latest observations here on it. We'll refresh this. We'll get the 11 a.m. It has 105 mile per hour wind, so it's a cat. It's a Cat 2. It likely will be a Cat 1 as it passes to the north of Bermuda. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised by tomorrow morning, let's say like the 11 a.m. update tomorrow, that this is post-tropical. And why can we say that? Well, let's refresh this. Okay, so it's picked up a little bit of intensity because it's just around the Gulf Stream, not over it, but close enough that it's using some of the warmer waters. It's also picking up a lot of vertical wind shear, and you can see this is what's really key. This is how you know the transition's getting ready to begin. Look at this. See how these cloud tops are warming? This is dry air starting to wrap into the core of this. In fact, let's see if we can get the water vapor lined up here. We'll look at different levels of water vapor. We'll start in the upper levels, and you can see just barely in the upper levels a sign of that drier air punching into the core. The mid levels, it's also showing up just barely, starting to show up. And then finally we go to the lower levels. And that's where it's really starting to take hold. Okay, so watch this. As we go on through the evening and into the overnight hours, you're going to see this punch in. And what's going to happen is that the core of Melissa is going to start to transition from tropical to extratropical, from purely warm core to one driven by a thermal gradient boundary. This is all going to set up right as the storm's lifting to the north and west of Bermuda. And you can already see the process happening. You can already see the focus here more to the northwest of the low pressure system and that dry air punching in, getting ready to punch in. You're going to see this really enhance and take shape as we move into the evening hours. But no, it will not be a major hurricane. The time for it to be a major hurricane has come and gone. That it won't get any stronger. It won't get anywhere near as strong as that. And you can also see that here on the infrared. See it very clearly. That process is already starting. And I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes like a tropical while passing to the north of Bermuda. Would not be surprised by that at all. I got to definitely start to shut down some of the pages I have here. Again, a lot of this is because of the winter forecast. So I gotta weed through this and see what I need to shut down. Let's go back to our radar here. Time to grab some coffee. Mm. And I'm sorry, I got some people. Hello, Ford. Ford DSL 96. Good afternoon. How you doing? You know what I should do if I was smart? Let's slide this over here. There we go. And so that way I could see it live here. All right, so now we have that set up. So we got that all good. Let's see here. So again, if you are, let me try to overlay this with some more details. Let's go with the interstates here. Traffic. Okay, it's a little feature on WeatherTap. Trying it out. Okay, so this heavy rain band is definitely starting to march up into the I-95 corridor, right on the I-95. Uh, and it's pretty impressive here out towards Atlantic City as well. Getting some heavier rain impacting I-80, I-78. So right, basically from a line from East Stroudsburg down to Allentown, Trenton, excuse me, Princeton. And that coffee gives me hiccups. That's interesting. Mount Holly is now to the north. It's now to the north and east of Philadelphia now. Pine Hill's pretty much done. Coming through Atlantic City. So the next areas to be impacted by this line of very intense rainfall and strong winds will be locations like Lakewood, Freehold, up towards East Brunswick, and probably, let's see, Marville, and right around the border, the tri-border between Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. Those are going to be your next rounds as you move into the next 90 minutes. And you can see the enhancement here. Very impressive. Very nice lifting here. You could, I don't know if you could hear it, but man, the winds are picking up here in Freehold. The trees are definitely swaying. Seeing very heavy rainfall. My roses are getting a beating. I got roses right over here. Uh, so the worst is actually happening now on through this evening. Okay, so we're starting to move into that time period. That's why I started this at 12. We're starting to see the worst of these conditions, and they're going to continue. Let's see here. Torrential rain in Queens now, 25 mph gusts over 40. Here we have it in Queens. So if we have any more observations here on X, definitely a good day for hot soup. I would agree. Absolutely. So again, if you guys have observations, feel free to share them right here. I will check also my Discord and see what we have anything new up in here. There's a lot of focus on the IOD. I'll tell you that much. A lot of people making a big deal about it. If you read the premium winter forecast, you know what I think of the IOD and why it just further enhanced the winter forecast. So yeah, things are looking interesting. That is for sure. Only thing we need now is just that snow growth to get back in line. But hey, all the other features are lined up. We talked about that last night. You could watch the video again on YouTube under the dashboard for live coverage. Now, just to plug myself, because hey, I'm here, might as well do it, right? Are you prepared for the cold season? I know. It's hard to believe it's coming already. We are getting ready for our winter season. I have two options for you to be a consulting member and be able to jump into this chat when we're talking about snow and ice and not just rain and diving through these winter storms. If you are a snow plow driver, if you are dealing with any type of traveling on the roadways, if you have kids that you're worried about going on an after school trip, may I suggest the premium consulting membership, monthly membership, $15 a month. You'll get all the information you need. You get to follow me live. You get to ask questions when the winter storms hit, and also it is a great value because not only do you get weather information, but you get an education. And of course, if you are interested, if you have a business and you're looking for a little bit more detail, you want a specific forecast, which I'll be working on later on this afternoon live in front of everyone. Um, if you want a specific forecast designed for your operations and your details, definitely check that out. Premium consulting membership. Again, it's you could also go if you're looking for that, where to find that on the page, because I'm thinking when I'm building this website and we're having it rebuilt and be a little bit sharper and a little bit more easier to navigate. But the setup for if you're looking for premium consulting membership, click right here. If you're looking for business, click right here. And you can fill out your information, what you need, whether or not you need certified snowfall analysis. Put your email in there and I'll get right back to you and we'll set up a nice quote for you. These are the general prices usually. So I just wanted to share that because it's important. Because after all, I am running a business and I got to pay the mortgage. And depending on who wins the governor in New Jersey, I'm going to need the money for taxes. Either way you slice it, really. But, hey, look, I got to pay the bills, right? So now that we've done that, I promised I would, start plugging myself more and monetize myself more because as one friend said, hey, you're worth it. So you should really share that information. So there you go. I did it. Now back to the weather. So we have our winds remaining from the southeast. Let's scroll down here. Okay. So you can see this is our secondary low. This is our old primary low. This is becoming the primary low. See, the winds are pretty strong here still from the southwest, 5 to 15 miles per hour. This is the scenario. This is the environment that we'll be dealing with tomorrow. Now, why is it going to be so windy for Halloween tomorrow? I can feel I'm going to sneeze. I know it. You ever have that itch in your nose and you just know you're going to sneeze? It's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming. So, anyway, for tomorrow, this is the environment we have at the mid levels. Now, you might be saying, Stephen, there's not going to be as much lifting. The upper level low is lifting away. It's all true. Here's why we're going to see mixing down to the surface. I'm going to jump to the 850 millibar temperatures. Here we are. Okay, so here we are. Tomorrow, our 850 millibar temperatures are going to be right around freezing. Now, obviously, we're not going to be freezing at the surface. Thank God, not yet. But we're going to be in the 40s and 50s. So you have this cold air loft, and it creates instability. And that instability is going to mix down these stronger winds. So what you end up with, along with your pressure gradient at supporting sustained winds of 10 to 20 miles per hour, tomorrow, your witches and goblins are going to have a little bit more pep to their step, a little bit more wind beneath their wings, because it's literally going to be wind gusts at times ranging anywhere from 20 to, I would not be surprised to get 40 mile per hour wind gusts out of this for tomorrow. So, again, if you have any loose kind of flying type of Halloween stuff, giant skeletons, for example. I've seen a lot of those. You might want to really make sure those things are secure, or else they're going to be flying around, and you got a lot of little kids out there too. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. So just be aware these strong wind gusts are going to be an issue because you have these strong winds at the mid levels. So that is something that I am concerned about for tomorrow. So I've been mentioning that quite a bit. By the way, I am not dressing up tomorrow. I will be wearing my Godzilla shirt. I didn't have time to really find a costume. I was thinking Batman, but I really didn't find anything that was really good to wear. A little disappointed. Quite frankly, we didn't have a Spirit Halloween around here in Freehold, which was very disappointing. We had to go all the way down to hell. But this year, just pretty much going to wear my Godzilla shirt, let the kids have fun. We're giving out full bars this year for Halloween. So how about that? I mean, yeah, kind of like a Bob's Burger reference there. Yeah, full bars, and we can't support that with our economy. So there you go. So we're definitely looking forward to that. We're going to have a whole fun time for Halloween. And it's on a Friday, too, so it's even more fun. Let's get an update. Let's see if we can refresh some of this data here. And this is 4 minutes old now. And again, look at this intense heavy rainfall setting up here. So this is where I'm expecting some pretty good mixing. Let's see if we can get any type of um, response with that with the winds. Yeah, yep. Look at this enhancement right here. Very nice. Look at that. Look at that expansion again. You're talking about this level right here. See, we even got a couple of purples here and there. So you're getting towards the higher end here. And then back here in your greens, you're getting up in the higher end here. So this is pretty strong meter per second. This is pretty strong wind gust setting up here with this line lifting its way through. So if you want to know correlation coefficient, right now, obviously you're not going to get much in the way of data here, but this is what you use to study your rain snow line. Storm relative velocity. And this is what you would start to look at for tornadoes or anything of that nature. Obviously, you're not seeing anything of that now. Let's see what the hourly precipitation rates are with this line here. See if we get some new data here. And yeah, we're pushing up pretty high up there, getting at least over a half an inch of rain per hour in this line. as it's marching its way through. That's pretty impressive. That is some pretty good rainfall. That's a pretty good rainfall rate. And that is just about starting. The edge is just starting to push into freehold now. And right now we're getting a little bit lighter rain right now out ahead of this. Trees are waving at me. Very impressive. So far, it's so good with the power. Fingers crossed. See how that plays out. Let's see here. Just looking over to see what other data we have. I'm going to very quickly take care of one thing for the client while I'm doing that. See if we have any more questions. So I don't know. What do you guys think of the live stream rather than breaking into the videos? I mean, I think this is a little bit smoother. Let's see. See here. In the teeth of it now, torrential downpours, wind gusts 50 miles per hour. Going to post a video on my X account of the storm soon. Perfect. I will share it. JFK reported 52-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I thought my neighbor's tree was going to snap. Very impressive. All right, so I'm going to keep on the lookout for that video. Definitely tag me so that way I can share it. I'm doing that. I'm just going to take care of a little bit of work here. And sometimes you got to handle some client stuff real fast. Bam, fixed. Perfect. Honestly, I kind of like this setup a lot better um, in terms of. I'm missing something here. There it is. Let's see. Full bars, indeed. 1.46 inches already in South Brunswick. Very nice. So I'm trying my best to jump from location to location. I'm going to have to put the Twitch thing back up here. I can follow it better. Full screen here. That way I can see it better. Things we'll have to learn. We'll have to move some screens around. Definitely. We're doing well there. Keep an eye out for that video. Back to the radar. Here comes that heavy rain. Very impressive. Overall, this storm is really taking shape pretty much almost exactly as expected. We're approaching 1 inch here in Freehold, New Jersey. Yeah, what I like about the live coverage, the way that I have this set up right now, I'll tell you this right now. Beforehand, I'd get all nervous. I'd have to reset the video, make another image, all that stuff. This way, I'm just going to let it ride, and then we'll go. And then when I have to take a break, I'll put up the sign taking a break. Um, that way, we don't have to reset this. You could just have it streaming in the background. You don't have to worry about any new videos. And I already set up a separate section for those videos that we do for specific storms. So this will go into its own little section on YouTube for to save for prosperity. So, and we have quite a few people already watching. Again, it's pretty impressive with this rainstorm. Just checking out YouTube here. Let's see. My neighborhood, Central New Jersey, has ground wires, so if we have power outages, it's usually equipment related. That is true. Around here in Freehold, we have, I mean, I got power lines running right across our street, unfortunately. Love the more simple graphics and the music. Cool. We have music. Oh, yeah, right. Yes. Yes, you're talking about that. What was the web page again for the Retro Weather Channel? Okay, so this is WeatherStar. If you Google WeatherStar .netbymatt.com, that's basically what this is. And it even has the old jazz music. I played the jazz music, but I don't know whether or not that's going to um, get a fine or something from YouTube if I did that. But here, like, remember this? The old wind advisory. Look at this. Look at this old warning. I used to get so excited as a kid whenever I saw this. For one, it's red. And not only is red my favorite color, but also it's the only color I see. So there you go. Um, but this used to be old school. I love this, love seeing this, especially when you get winter storms. It's very exciting. So, yep, so this is the old school setup, and you play jazz music. I don't know whether or not they change the jazz music as you go through the seasons. I'll have to see how that plays out. I'll let you guys know. Um, let's see here. And I'll tell you one thing: it's easier for me to share the live chat room because you see what you could do with it. Again, my expectations um, for this is basically to um, test everything out to make sure it works. So I'm not expecting a lot of action. You should be able to pop out the chat on the OBS and move it where you want it. Okay. On OBS, right? I'm using because I have a Mac, I'm using Ecamm Live. I'm not sure exactly how to do that on here. It's one of the things I'm gonna have to learn. I know I can pop it out on here, pop out the chat. Yeah, there it is. Dismiss. Okay. All right. That didn't work exactly. All right. Well, we'll try it out. We'll keep on testing it. These are things we're going to have to learn, which is fine. Let me refresh X here. X marks the spot. Let's see what we have here. Verified. See if we got any new general observations coming in. More than 1,200 without power in Staten Island. It's pretty impressive. And snow way up north. All right. All right. And we are starting to really pick up now. Rainfall is getting much heavier here in Freehold. Again, this is right about this spot right here. For Freehold, this should be the heart of our storm. Winds have picked up in Queens. Fall foliage in full effect here in Rhode Island. Seeing some good trees become beautiful colors. Yeah, I mean, I got like a nice red, a lot of maple trees out here. Very, very beautiful. Yeah, the air is too stable um, at the lower levels. Let me show you that, in fact. So the reason why, you got pretty gnarly, right? Pretty impressive. But you have this stable layer here, here, and pretty much here. This is what really kills it. So when you have this very strong layer here of warmer as you go higher up in the atmosphere. Basically, what that means is that you kill any chance for any type of thunderstorm threat. But you could still, in this scenario, have plenty of winds mixing down to the surface, which is what we're seeing with this line. And we're getting very, very heavy rain now. Visibility here in Freehold is getting, I'd say, about half a mile at this point, maybe less. The roses against my house right here are getting rocked, but they're still holding in. They're pretty impressive. Right, the roses right now. But there is our heavy. This is what exactly is starting to move into West Freehold. Trenton is getting pretty good heavy rain. Beechwood. And again, when we step back and zoom out on this, I'll zoom in a little bit. So there's your upper level low. There's your whole system consolidating. Here's your warm front, cold front, occluded front. This setup right here is just going to get more and more enhanced. And we'll zoom in here. Oops. Where are you? Here we are. Let's refresh this. Look at that enhancement. Very nice. Very nice strong lifting taking place here. That we can see very clearly here on the water vapor. So this perfect divergence and diffluence. Very nice. And then this sinking here right behind it. There's our upper level low. So we go to clean long wave. In fact, here, let's go to sandwich. Get a good mixture here. Get a good idea of what we're dealing with here. Look at this lift. Look at that. Look at the areas of colder cloud tops playing off very nicely. Just a perfect V. Nice V. That's exactly when you're getting this type of environment. When you get this V signature right here, you see that right there? That right there, that's a perfect sign of perfect divergence and diffluence, perfect optimal scenario to allow for that mixing, to allow for your stronger winds. And don't be surprised towards the end of this, we get a beautiful little bit of a sunset setting up right behind this heavy rain. Look at some declaring. In fact, let's go to regular geocolor and see what we can find here. Now, why are you seeing this clearing? Because you have so much sinking air behind this line that you're allowing to get breaks in the lower and mid-level clouds that we may actually see a little bit of sunshine out of this once this whole thing lifts through. Still windy, still stormy, but towards the very end of the day, do not be surprised we get some sunshine. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate a lot of the suggestions, and I will be taking them, and we'll definitely be following them, um, and working with. Oh, here we go. Lawn and leaf bags are not happy. Very, very true. I'll repost that. It's pretty stormy out there right now. Let's see. My neighbor's drain pipe is ready to rip off. Yeah, I got that thread over here as well. In fact, no, it's gone. It's gone. The the drain, it actually broke off on the house next door. I could see it right here. Now, you might be asking what's going to be different between this and when we get to the winter. For one, the live chat's going to be full because you're going to have a lot of people and a lot of the snowplow guys. Usually, I've been doing this for 20 years. All of a sudden, membership spikes because all the snowplow guys come, which I very much appreciate. So usually the live chat room is just full. Now with the streaming, you'll be able to go out and do your thing and stream it on your phone and watch the storm evolve as we chat. So this part's your upper level low. This is your V. This is the influence of our V. And here is our, doesn't look like we have too much in the way of too much bad traffic. It's me. can see it's lifting right through. Let's zoom in, refresh. It's just starting to push into New York City. It's in northern New Jersey now. You should see rain increasing. Princeton, you're at the heart of it. Trenton, you're at the heart of it. Freehold, you're just starting to get into it. And boy, is it really coming down pretty good. We have pushed over 1 inch of rain here in Freehold. And one of the things I got to learn with Ecamm Live, and if anyone uses it, let me know to help improve this. Just dealing with the layers. I got to figure out how to do that. But we'll get there. We shall get there. Not a problem. So I'm going to take my first break once I finish my coffee. So it's basically a true coffee break. Every time I finish a coffee, I'm going to take a break, bathroom break, fill up the coffee, check on wife, go back to work. That's how we're going to do it all the way till 6. I'm coming up on the first hour. And let's see here. And thank you. I'm getting some. I'm trying to stay away from any derogatory names. I don't need to piss off half the country. I will say this. Thank you very much for the good job and all love. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Da-da-da-da. Well, I'm telling you, there is a lot of interest in what's evolving for November, and I will say this. I do not like making comparison years, as you know. I don't think that's ever a good idea. But man, I am really interested to see how this pattern evolves. Especially, let's see if I can pull up. Yeah, here we are. This is what I was looking for here. As this evolves, the one thing that you're going to be hearing a lot about is called the Ural Ridge. I talk about this quite a bit. Um, oh, hi, Dylan. Look, I can't say your name on air. I don't want to tick off half the country. You know, this world is too divided to begin with. I don't need that nonsense. So, I am just a meteorologist. I don't control, believe it or not, I do not control the weather or anything else. So, just want to make that very clear. So, anyway, one phrase you're going to hear a lot on social media, oh, a whole lot. The Ural Ridge, URAL. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you get the idea. If that thing pops and there's increasing support, it will. Okay, not so much the GFS, but it's the GFS. Um, I will say that this could be interesting, but and here's the but, and here's very important but. Um, you do not want to jump the gun, so to speak, on this evolution, right? You want to take it week by week. You don't want to get overly excited. I do expect a pause in November. Definitely do. As far as like a moderation in the middle of the month, um, I explain why in the premium consultant membership, in the long range thoughts, and also in the November. But in the November update, because every month we do it before the end of the month. For the next month, we do a long range look at the whole month. And November is going to be a month of transition, but I would suggest not jumping the gun and extrapolating the entire season of upcoming winter season based on what happens in November. Certainly a lot of clues, but you want to like take a step back and don't get caught up in any social media hype machine. Excuse me. Take the pattern a week at a time. Take the storm threats a day at a time. If you do that, you won't get caught up in the hype, and you won't get caught up in excitement and falling for erroneous stuff. Oh wow, I got some fan funding. Look at this. really interesting things. We had very heavy band move through Harrisburg about 30 minutes ago, just over 2 inches in total. Great coverage by you. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, Stephen Light. I will say that, all right, so I'm just going to be really, really upfront. I'm trying my best to keep an eye on all these socials. So if you do something like a fan fund or whatever, I really appreciate it, and B, I will try to find it as quickly as I possibly can. If I miss it, I will try to find it and address it as quickly as I can. But I am lost on a Mac. I've been drying corn since last Monday, so I'm happy to have this break. Must be a guy from Discord. Yeah. So yeah, I'm following everything as best. Like this is a lot of fun because I'm kind of bouncing around. And again, this is a rainstorm. We're already getting this type of activity. And yes, I'm taking my vitamins. I take vitamins. I'm 46. I gotta take vitamins. I'm looking for Flintstone kids. Those things worked well when I was 6, right? 4, 5, 6. But this is for my knees. This is omega 6, omega 3 and omega 6. Um, because my knees are getting old, and this actually helps with arthritis and stuff like that. I don't have arthritis. I want to prevent it. So omega fats are very important for that. Once you get into your 30s, you trade in the alcohol for all the supplements. Although I don't drink, I never really was much of a drinker. In fact, when I was in college, I was the guy that was driving people around. I'd make bank every Friday and Saturday because I didn't drink. So I'm like, oh, all these people, they need me to pick them up. So I made pretty good money. That's how I paid for my books and half of college. Let's see here. Okay, our band is now intensifying. So why is our band intensifying? Why? Well, let's go back to the water vapor satellite picture, shall we? And let me switch out. First, let's look to see if we have any lightning. We do out here. Why do we have lightning out here? Because the atmosphere is more unstable here. You're not getting this stable layer that's in place here. But notice, let's zoom in. Look at the popcorns here. Okay, so what you have here is stratiform precipitation, right? You have stratiform clouds, and then what you have is stratocumulus setting up here. So that's why you're seeing all this puffiness here. And all this puffiness is a sign of rising air. So now let's see. And while we have very, very heavy rainfall going on in Freehold right now, the water is literally bouncing off the roof. The winds aren't too bad though right now. Not too bad compared to what we were dealing with earlier. Not too bad at all. So whenever we have the lightning, let's recolorize this a little bit. And right where we had all that puffiness, that's where we're seeing our colder cloud tops here. Very nice. More of a tropical environment out here. Very nice. So again, you have your occluded front, cold front, warm front. And there's your V. Water vapor, we jump to that last. There you go. The V is intensifying. V for victory. V for vendetta. Great movie, by the way. Um, Look at this setup. Really, really nice setup here. And then there is your sinking air behind it. Here's your main event. It is intensely raining right now. We just added about a tenth of an inch in the past, I'd say maybe 10 minutes, if not maybe a little bit shorter than that. Very impressive. We have pushed well over an inch already, driving towards verification. There's another look, kind of zoomed out. See the enhancement of those cold cloud tops from central New Jersey up into northeastern Pennsylvania. Again, complete separation from Melissa, which is starting to take on a little bit more cold core signals here. Back to the radar. There's our intense rainfall. Zoom out. Very nice. Right up. Perfect V signature. And here's the end of our storm. So this is what we're going to be tracking. Once it gets up to about New Haven, we'll come to the end of our live coverage. And let me just make sure I got all the other stuff covered here. Mm, let's see. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was told by my wife in terms of the coverage, right? Like the live the fan stuff, and when people give money that they want to be acknowledged, they don't want to be. I don't know. I'm learning with you live, and this is fun. This is what I always wanted to do as far as like my own channel. Just go live and just talk and share my observations. Coming up to 1 o'clock, our clocks go back this weekend. Yes. Why am I excited about that? Because this time on Monday, all the models will be updated. I can update earlier. Better data, faster data. We should just keep the clocks the same. Fall back, gain an hour of sleep, get better model data. Come on. We could do it. I ought to run for Congress just on that, right? I don't care about anything else. We're just going to set the clocks and get that done. New HRRR data. So let's see. Pretty much lining up exactly as expected. HR is doing a pretty good job with this analysis here, with this setup here. Pretty good observations. And you can see over the next 90 minutes that this line is really going to intensify right over central New Jersey. Of course, right over Freehold, so we'll be able to watch it live. And lifting up into New York City right around 3:30 is going to start to push in. Let's say like 3:15, it pushes into Staten Island. 3:30 New York City, and then Long Island. Now, there's questions as to why aren't we seeing the wind advisories for Long Island? I would put it out there, but I will say this, that this whole setup starts to shift north and east pretty quickly with the upper level low. So it kind of bypasses Long Island and shifts into New England, that mixing potential. You can see that line very nicely here. And we got a lot of rain to deal with as we move into the evening hours in Connecticut and southern New England. So definitely more to come in terms of the evolution here of our storm. Let's see here. All right, let's see. JFK reported 52 mile per hour winds. In the teeth of it now, torrential downpours, wind gusts to 50 miles per hour. Let's see here. On the storm soon. My neighbor. Okay. Are you seeing support for those higher wind gusts in the observations? Yeah, I have. I have been seeing it in terms of our observations. A lot of them around 30 to 40, but we are seeing an occasional 50. And again, usually my upper range usually is more isolated. So let's say if I was expecting a lot of 50 mile per hour wind gusts, then I would usually go with a forecasted range of, let's say, 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, right? Where 60 is isolated, 50 is kind of like the average. Um, that's how I handle my forecasting when I put out those ranges. So I would expect that 50 mile per hour because what you're talking about is mixing down those winds roughly up to maybe about 40-45% of what you're of the momentum that you're seeing in the mid levels of the atmosphere. If we were talking about 60% momentum, which would be very impressive, then you'd be talking about 50-60 mile per hour wind gusts, which is possible, but it's very unlikely to set that up. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing that in some of the observations here. In fact, let's see. Let me go. Let me see if we have any. Uh, is that crack particularly potential? Let's see your size. Hail, 5 inch. So I think that might be an error. That looks pretty unusual. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That sounds a little fishy. 5 inch, 5 inch size hail. That's like bigger than Texas. I don't think so. I think someone's been playing some games here. I'm going to go to weather alerts and see what we have here in terms of observations from National Weather Service. Let's see. NWS, Mount Holly. All right, so they have an update. Okay, so here are the wind gusts reported so far. According to the National Weather Service, I'll refresh this to put this on my X feed. Okay, so we're talking about highest wind gusts reported so far. Lakehurst, 51 miles per hour. Matokin, 50 mile per hour. Seaside Heights, 49 miles per hour. Brington, 49 miles per hour. Tuckerton, 48 miles per hour. Avalon, 47 miles per hour. And we can get more information. Let's see if we can pop that open. And let's see the wind gusts that we had as of this is as of 11:13 a.m. So it's about 2 hours old, but you get the point here. You see the wind gusts here on Delaware, New Jersey, basically around 40 to 50 mile per hour range. A few 50 mile per hour ranges here in Ocean County, Monmouth County, generally between 40 and 45 so far. And then in Pennsylvania, where I'm expecting less of those wind gusts, around 41 mile per hour in Monroe County. I'm not expecting much in northeastern Pennsylvania. We'll be in the 20 to 30 mile per hour wind range as far as wind gusts. So that's what's updated so far. We'll keep an eye on that. And this is fun too, because now I could like share social media. See, I'm learning. I'm getting there. I got to keep up with. Well, that's one way to put it. Yeah, 5 inch hail as a meteorologist is hilarious to me. I'm like, yeah, that would rival some of the largest hail that you ever seen. Wait, how does resetting the clock impact the model data? Okay, great question. Model data is run on UTC time. Okay, UTC's time is standard. It's a 24-hour clock, doesn't change, no matter how much we want to screw around with our clock. So when we leap forward, we delay an hour. The actual timing on UTC doesn't change, but we change an hour late. So instead of me getting it at 1 o'clock, I get it at 2 o'clock. When we fall back to the normal, regular, realistic time, which lines up with UTC, by the way, then we get the model data earlier, okay, at 1 o'clock rather than 2 o'clock. So that makes a huge difference to me because I'm very much an organizational person and it drives me nuts when things are late and I got to deal with it for like roughly 6 months of the year, which drives me up the wall. So that's why it impacts. So this is great. I'm enjoying this. More people in the chat room. So if you guys have any questions, just share them. I'm here to help. And let's see here. Yeah, very good. I got 4 viewers. I know it's not a lot. I know, but 4 viewers here on Twitch, better than 0. Yeah, we're gonna have to move this around. I'll have to figure out a way to do that. I'll figure it out. No worries. Uh, and we'll get that rock and rolling. I got the YouTube here. I didn't do Facebook because I figured it's kind of hit and miss on Facebook, but definitely X is doing well as well. That's really good to see. The X feed is working properly. Yeah, a lot of people are just kind of bashing that observation. There is no way in hell that's real. Nope, 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 nope. Yeah, see now X is not really known for its chat area. I got plenty of viewers though. Hello, 583 of you. Nice to see you. But yeah, not much in the way of chat room. I think it's because it's hard to find, to be honest with you. So I'm not usually worried about that. There's our line, and we had very intense rain. We're backed off on the rain now. We're kind of right in here. This right here is going to be your second wave, and this is the final wave. The final wave is already moving through, starting to move into the Philadelphia metro right now, approaching southwest New Jersey. Delaware, you're pretty much done. You still got to deal with the winds, though. Let's zoom in on this. So it's approaching the end towards Millville. You got a little bit longer in Cape May. Dover, you're done. Brookside, you're done. Coatesville, you're done. The heart of this is moving into Morristown, Fairlawn, Monmouth County, all of Monmouth County, Trenton down to Ocean County. And again, like I said, the heavy rainfall threat will be done today. The wind threat will continue on through tomorrow. And the reason why that's the case is because of mixing in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is going to become more unstable. Let me see if I can show that. In fact, here, I'm gonna play with something here. Let's go NAM. And okay, we'll go to tomorrow afternoon. So here we are, very dry for Halloween. The witches and ghouls are out. Let's take a look at our SKU-T. Okay, so remember I said about the cold air aloft? Well, this is very unstable. Not much in the way of moisture, so there isn't much in the way in terms of moisture lift. But when you have this cold air aloft like this, you get some cloud cover, right? So that's why you're seeing this right here, okay? So you have saturated mid-level air, so you have some cloud cover. And then you have these very strong winds. And not all of it gets mixed down, but what happens is that enough of this gets mixed down because of the instability in the atmosphere that you're talking about, let's say zoom in here. It's about 800 millibars. You're talking about 55, 850, about 45 knots, 900 millibars. You're talking about 35 knots. So you're easily talking about, you're sustained at about 10 to 20 miles per hour, and you're talking about wind gusts easily pushing into the 30, 35 mile per hour wind gust range and a rogue 40 mile per hour wind gust range. So when you have this type of setup involved here, you basically get your peak winds at the height of your sunshine because that's when the ground is warmer and you maximize the lapse rate. So even though it's only 55 degrees, you have a hell of a lapse rate because it's freezing at 850 millibars, right? So in this environment, this leads to your windiest conditions basically from about 11 a.m. to let's say about 4 or 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., you'll see those winds subside. And we got very heavy rain going on right now in Freehold again. And we are pushing 1.10 inches so far, about point. Whoop, here we go. Picking up again. There goes the winds. Oh, we're getting some pretty good mixing right now here in Freehold. Let's jump back to the radar here. Look at this setup here. Very nice. Again, the V enhancement. Your divergence and diffluence. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about divergence in the upper atmosphere, enhancing this whole setup. Perfect. Perfect setup. And there's your new upper level low, lifting up towards the eastern Great Lakes. There's your perfect divergence and diffluence. There's your moisture transport. And this is all lifting in this direction towards New England. It's going to clip Long Island, really settle over New England. Very nice setup. Yeah, the weather world is having some fun on that observation. We like our jokes. Um, no rain, Queens now, just strong wind gusts. Yeah, that's right now. You're in between. Expect that to change very quickly as this heavier band is moving in. It's moving in a little bit fast too, I think. It might be moving faster than what the model guide's suggesting. Okay. Look at the mid-levels dry slot behind the rain. Oh yeah, I know. That's all. I know exactly what that is. That right there, that is all your substance behind all this strong lifting. So I'm going to show you. Let's see, 500 millibars. Okay, this actually works out really well. Let me. Yeah, here we are. Perfect. Okay. So this is from last night. We're waiting for the 12Z to come in. But what you're basically seeing is right here is your divergence and diffluence. And so this signal right here, this is all your rising air. But this over here is your sinking air, right? You see how you have that really sharp cutoff here? That is what you're seeing here. That's exactly what you're seeing. There's your lifting, there's your sinking air. And so what happens, and we'll zoom out, you just get this very, very rapid cutoff here setting up. While this rain is intensifying over here, we're quickly on the way to 1.5 inches here in Freehold. More rain everywhere else. We're getting strong winds reported in Brooklyn right now. Let's see what else. Very impressive setup. Very nice. Let me go. Let's see if we have any more updates from NOAA as far as observations. So far, no. I always get a little sketchy sharing this part because you never know what you're going to get. Even though you put in for following, somehow the people that you don't follow end up on here. I don't know why, but some pretty good meteorologists here. We're getting some reports here for Connecticut, down towards southwestern Connecticut. That's where you're seeing your 30 to 40s, getting close to 50 in Bridgeport. This is a good follow by Null. So, yeah, we don't need any of that. So I've been hearing that people are doing Halloween on Saturday. Why not just go on Friday? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of things anymore. Do Halloween on Halloween. Let's see. So there's our line. It is consolidated very, very nicely to one solid line. So that has definitely worked out very nicely on the model guidance. We're still, I think we're moving a little fast though, in terms of the speed of this. We're going to see this pushing into New York City by 2. Okay, let's see. HRR guidance. And no, the updated HRR guidance now pushes in at 2 into New York City. So that's good. It's catching up. So yeah, we're done in central New Jersey with the bulk of this. Supposedly, what's going to happen, this kind of makes sense, is that you're going to get a little bit of expansion and lifting, and you're going to get this other pop-up line. So we'll see whether or not this plays out here around eastern Pennsylvania with the upper level low and expansion here of the lifting to the back here as this rotates through. So we're going to watch out for, and we're starting to see that pop up here. So let's see what that looks like on the water vapor. Refresh this. So with the dry air aloft, what it's trying to do with the instability around central Pennsylvania is allow for some cumulus to pop here. And let's see if we can find that in the visible satellite picture. Let's see, go to geocolor. So you see these lines here. So some of this is going to pop off into some showers and elevated thunderstorms. So we're going to watch this cumulus field right here. A lot of dry air though involved, so it's not going to be widespread. And this is where your widespread steady rain is. There's like the potential for some scattered convective precipitation here. And it's showing up, but so far not nearly as robust as what the model guides are showing. But we'll keep an eye on it. Hanover, let's zoom in. There we got a wave coming in around Hanover and around just to the south of York, and another pop-up shower sitting up to just to the west of Brookside. And again, very heavy rainfall setting up here. We are well on the way to getting to an inch and a half of rain out of this in Freehold, which is something we need. I hope everyone's enjoying the storm coverage. This is definitely new. Again, we're going to work out the kinks as we move forward. Let's see. The fact the local government want to dictate what anyone can celebrate a holiday is ridiculous to me. But then again, who am I? I celebrate Halloween on Halloween because it's Halloween. Simple as that. I like Halloween. Live on X. Oh, look, I'm actually showing up. I'm up to plus 645. That is so cool. I'm more than Michael knows, whoever this guy is. That's awesome. So this is a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with this type of stuff because it's like basically having my own TV station. I should take a break, but I probably will have to just to rest my voice for a minute or two. Uh, Lightning reported in Livingston, New Jersey. Yeah, I believe it. I believe. Let's see if we can overlay lightning on here. I know I got it. Data, lightning. Here we are. Let's see. Timestamp, show legend. Let's see what we got here. There it is. There's your lightning strikes right here, which is right on the leading edge of all that rising air. 125 to 45, 50 dBz over Staten Island. Yeah, very impressive. So we definitely have some pretty good lightning setting up. So this is what I'll use when we go on break. So just so if anyone asks, is eventually I'm going to have to get more coffee. I'm starting to run low. Can you imagine when we're doing this in the winter? So I'm going to take 1 minute. I'm going to take a break for just a minute. I'll be right back. Um, and just give me just a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Stand by. Okay, we are back. There we go. Okay, so thank you for letting me have that break. And since we got back, let's refresh the radar and see what's new here in this scenario. And very heavy rain. Look at that. Look at this enhancement here, really taking place just to the west of Lakewood, heading up into Freehold. We are looking outside the window right now. Impressive heavy rainfall is occurring right now in Freehold, New Jersey. Very impressive strong winds. Trees are rocking back and forth. Just time for my new cup of coffee. Mm, very nice. Okay, so the divergence and diffluence we were watching is starting to take shape. And now we're starting to see additional showers. We are seeing really my trees in the west, the trees in the back here facing the east are just getting whipped around right now. The winds are mixing down. Let's see, it's being reported at 35 miles per hour. We have total rainfall right now pushing up to 1.5 inches right now, easily a quarter of an inch. Very impressive scenario unfolding here with this rainfall just becoming enhanced. Zoomed out a little bit. Look at the convection starting to break out. Remember, we were talking about that just before our break. Now that convection is starting to shine very nicely here in between the core upper level low and the divergence and diffluence. Your sinking air here, your additional lifting expansion back here over central Pennsylvania through eastern Pennsylvania. This is all going to swing shot through, but this right here is our primary line where we're going to see the bulk of our heavy rainfall playing out, and even some flashes of lightning with some of our elevated thunderstorms. And this is all becoming enhanced right here. Now, this is all becoming enhanced because of our divergence and diffluence. Now, let's see. I want to try and get a different look here. So here is our jet streak here at 850 millibars. Here's some of our divergence diffluence. Setting up. There's our upper level low. Let's see here. And there's another look at our divergence here, 250 millibars. Very nice setup, just perfectly aligned for this type of scenario. Just to be clear, if this was in the middle of winter, this would still be a rainstorm, possibly an ice storm over the interior. But again, anytime you have a southeast or easterly wind involved in any of these type of storms, it's no longer a snow event, it's a rain event on the coast. So I just want to make that very clear. Wow, just a very nice jet streak driving right in. And at the surface, you can see the winds just driving right in from the Atlantic. Perfect setup. Absolutely beautiful. Dangerous, but beautiful. So as this line comes in, let me zoom in here. Okay, this is going to be approaching Route 9. This is going to be lifting up towards Staten Island as this whole thing pivots. You're going to see this whole thing expand and lift north and east right through Monmouth County towards Staten Island and probably around New York City, right in this direction right here. Talking about, I think Brooklyn in here, Queens is out here. Very nice. And then here's the end of the steady rain. And then we got our scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms back here. So the end of the steady rain is approaching Philadelphia. Pretty much done in the Delmarva Peninsula, but you still have some scattered showers lingering on. And you can expect a lot of rain to pick up in a very short period of time. Trees not moving at all in Lawrenceville. I had that for a time around here. It was kind of like a lull, but now these trees they're about to lose a lot of leaves. And I'm watching one branch in particular that's dead, that's hanging on the power lines. One of these days, that line is going to go, and we're going to see it live. We have some observations. Rain and wind, absolutely ridiculous right now. This is, let's see here. Not sure exactly where this is at, but let's play it and see what it looks like. Actually, it's in New Jersey. Pretty impressive rainfall. There's your trees rocking back and forth. Having New England clam chowder for lunch. I had steak. So before I came on, I made steak. I usually eat 1 or 2 times a day. So getting very dark in Queens. Yeah, that's because that is heading for you. So right now we are pushing over 1.5 inches of rain here in Freehold, and the rain now is coming down in sheets. Very impressive rainfall rate is starting to evolve here in Freehold. We're having lightning, just got reported about 1 minute ago around Freehold. So this line here is supporting some lightning strikes based on my observations right here. Pressure is down to 1,000 millibars and falling. And this line is just marching its way through. And then after this line, we got this line, and that's it with the steady rainfall. So again, Philadelphia is coming to an end. New York City, you're just beginning. Queens, you're just beginning. Long Island, you'll see this, but in a weaker state as the stronger lifting lifts up towards Connecticut and the Hudson River Valley. But still, it's going to be a pretty good rainfall for you as well. A mess in Elizabeth, New Jersey. There we go. Winds howling against my window. Very impressive. Now, one thing I'm going to have to figure out when I'm doing this live coverage is measuring the snow when we get into the winter storms. Let's see what these observations are showing. Barometric pressure 29.65. Yeah, this is really amplifying right now. So the goal here is that, once this band moves through the New York City Metro, I'll probably come to an end on here. So my goal is between 5 and 6, coming to an end. So we're coming up on 2 hours on the stream. And overall, I think it's gone pretty well overall. Again, this is probably going to be a lot more in depth once we get into our winter season. We deal with winter storms. Wow, winds just really ratcheted up here. Just got a wind gust up to 45 miles per hour in Freehold. The trees are. I got one tree out here that's bending. Very, very impressive. There goes the leaves. I'm going to end up all in my front yard now. Um, yeah, we're seeing no significant wind damage yet. I have one dead tree branch that's literally hanging on the power lines here. So we're going to have that. Yeah, I have a home weather station. Yes, I do. So let's see. I use Tempest. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting Connecticut and Massachusetts to also get hit pretty hard with this setup here. HRRR guidance. Pretty nice. Plenty of rain for southern New England out of this. And actually, the HRRR picked up the line that developed here pretty nicely as well. Very, very good job by the HRRR today. Can't always say that, but definitely it's working out very nicely here. We could get like another secondary low trying to form right around Long Island. It's got kind of a signature setting up here. Let's see. Observations. 996 millibar low. I wouldn't be surprised at the triple point right about here. That this forms a new low pressure system while it lifts into Long Island and really enhances the rainfall around Connecticut and Massachusetts this evening. So you have the old primary, the new primary, and the new secondary ready to take hold. See all that playing out. You can see again, you have strong lifting here, lifting out here, strong substance here. And you got some lifting here, which lines up nicely with our cumulus that's showing up. And some of our cloud tops here in this zone getting a bit colder, which is why we're seeing this pop up here. Again, no severe thunderstorms, but certainly some pop-up showers, capable of some heavier downpours. But the primary main precipitation event is this one right here. It's all this, lifting to the north and east. It's coming to an end around Pine Hill. It's done around Clayton. It's approaching Mount Holly. Still some very heavy rainfall, though. Sitting around Bristol. So we still got a little bit of time to go. So we got 1 mile inland from Seabright. It's calm a little. Worst was 30 minutes ago. Buckets and sideways. Sounds about right. Pouring out in Queens. Got about another 6 minutes, and then we can start doing the forecasting for the afternoon. So I'll show you what I do, kind of behind the scenes, how I handle my forecast, what I generally look at. In the morning, I look at everything. And based on what I see in the morning, I look at what in the afternoon with the new model data, I look at what are some of the factors that can change that forecast. So my goal isn't to change the whole forecast unless I really need to. Because the one thing I don't want to do is create a lot of volatility in the forecast and lead to a lot of confusion. Sometimes when you see a major change in a forecast, you want to wait one more one more model run, major model run. I don't mean like 18Z and 06Z, 0Z and 12Z. Because the reason why is that if you see a significant change in the forecast, it could be because of some missing data and an error. Yes, even with AI. So when you see a major change, unless you're expecting it for whatever reason, um, you want to wait one more sweep before making that change to your forecast, because otherwise it could be simply an error that you have to pick up. Oh, look at that. I just dropped. Oh, how are you today? Hello, Joseph. This is awesome. New people. Hello. Let's see. I'm doing great. Follow. I like the stream. Can you see my chats? Yeah. All right, cool. I got someone named Cassandra O. I am new to Twitch, so I'm trying to. There's like an etiquette. I don't know if like follow back or what. Oh, those are bots. Oh, I should have known. I'm like thinking, what's wrong? So, holy smokes. Back to the observations. Freehold visibility down to less than a mile, less than a quarter mile. Very intense rainfall. Um, winds are really, really gusting. So far, no power flickering though, so that's good. But we're getting into this heavy line right now here in Freehold. And I'm going to zoom in on this. This right here is starting to move in. I don't know if you could hear it, but the rain is just coming down hard against the windows here. The windows are actually starting to rattle. Very impressive. The roses are getting a beating, that's for sure. But we're definitely getting some intense rainfall here setting up. Winds are definitely, well, they actually backed off a bit. The trees aren't rocking as much. But definitely, we just picked up another, almost a tenth of an inch of rain in just the past couple of minutes. And this line's still approaching very, very heavy rainfall. So this is going to produce, unfortunately, when it lifts through, and I'm going to zoom in one more time. Okay, so as it's approaching Route 9 and Route 18, you're going to be dealing with some very, very heavy rainfall. Let's see if I can get more overlays. Counties, traffic, interstate. Yeah, this is just going to be pounding Freehold right now. Intense rainfall. It's moving pretty quickly though. So unfortunately for the afternoon rush hour, we still got a couple hours for the main rush hour. But right now, it's very difficult to drive through this rainfall. Very impressive rainfall, lifting right through Freehold. Visibility below a half a mile. Well, it's always social media. It's always some angry person. Let's see. Been watching since the beginning today. Good stuff. Thank you. Approaching 8,000 outages in JCP&L territory in New Jersey. Uh, Melissa's still out there, but not an issue for us. Let's see here. This line is moving a lot quicker than what was forecasted. Not really. Yes and no. The back edge synoptic one is moving about as expected. The mesoscale features are moving a little bit faster. In my part of Union County, very breezy with steady rain, but nothing outrageous. Windy or heavy by way of rain so far. Looks like heavier rain, presumably stronger winds, are on the way. Yeah, they're approaching you. Absolutely. I can't do any personal coverage, right, personal chat right now in the chat room because then that would screw things up here. Coming down sideways in Ocean County right now. Same with the rain. If this was snow, oh my, yeah. Uh, Rain has tapered off in Cape May, but some heavier downpours earlier. Zoom out a little bit. You can see this setup here very nicely. It's all just lifting right through. This is all heading towards Staten Island, New York City, Northeast New Jersey. This whole setup, this whole thing's going to pivot this direction. And then you got your final line back here, just passing Philadelphia right now. You still got some lighter rain in Cape May that is coming to an end. And then you can see around Reading a few of these showers popping in here. Again, more convection here, not nearly as heavy as what we're seeing here, but still some scattered heavier downpours over eastern Pennsylvania. And in your primary upper level low, this is all heading up towards the eastern Great Lakes. right. So let me go back to the radar. Let's do a comparison between the HRR guidance and where we are with our radar. If I can find the right thing. Here we are. Okay, so this is all coming to an end in Philadelphia at about 2:15. It's 2:01 right now. So it's getting close. It's pretty much on track in Philadelphia. New Jersey, it's pretty much right in the heart of it. Uh, New York City will be in the heart of it at around 4 o'clock. And yeah, I mean, this is all falling into place exactly as forecasted. By 6 o'clock, when I'm expecting this coverage to end, we'll be seeing the bulk of it lifting into New England and cutting through Long Island and some of your scattered showers here in New Jersey. But the bulk of this is happening now, pretty much as forecasted. So it's not really moving any faster um, than forecasted, really. Let's see, refresh this. Very impressive line marching through. Again, this is fell in just perfectly on the HRR. And you got this line. This is your back edge. This right here. Now, why are you seeing this sinking air, right? Why are you seeing this break up here? Well, let me zoom in. This is this is featuring such strong lifting, such rising air, and we'll hear about this a lot during the winter, that it's creating subsidence behind it. This is a mesoscale factor here, small scale, where you're having such intense lifting here with this line, and believe me, you can literally see it with the rainfall out here, that it creates sinking air right behind it. So that's why you're going to get much lighter rain right behind this, and then another surge, one last surge of moderate to heavy rain associated with this line. But this is the one that we've been waiting for that's going to support the strong wind gusts and the very heavy rainfall. Now, those of you in Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan Island, Northeastern New Jersey, you're just getting into this main line. So you'll really see things really pick up really quickly. We have pushed over 1.6 inches of rain. Actually 1.66 inches of rain here in Freehold. So we have verified the forecast. Yay. Let's see. See if we have anything new. There's our water vapor. Again, there's our V, our signature V, setting up that strong line. I bet you if we go to infrared, you see that lifting? Look at that enhancement of the cold cloud tops as a result. Perfect alignment. It's nice to see observations fall in line with theoretical physics in terms of meteorology, in terms of like what you theorize with the equations and what you see with the radar and satellite. It's a real gas because it makes all that time working on the calculus pay off. Because when I look at this, what I see are the equations. You guys see clouds. I see in my head all the equations that go into this whole setup and the lifting parameters associated with it. And it's a thing of beauty. Zoomed out, there is our upper level low that's consolidated. There's our ridge. There's our whole setup. And in case you're wondering, down here is Melissa. No real direct impact on us. You get some peripheral moisture, but that's it. And I think that's going to be more of an issue for New England than anything else. This feature right here is going to lift right into New England. And that's where you could possibly push over 2 inches of rain in here. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, right in here. Some locations around here are also going to be around 2 inches, based on what I was seeing earlier with the rainfall totals. In fact, let's see. if we have anything new. Let's see here. Oh, we got an upgrade here. I already shared that. Okay, so nothing new in terms of the observations as far as the rainfall is concerned. Because I imagine if this was snow, we'd be getting hammered right now. Oh, well. Like I said, unfortunately, this wouldn't be a snowstorm, but this would be a very annoying rainstorm in the winter. You'd have your snowstorm. This type of storm track would be a snowstorm for Cleveland, Columbus, uh, the Eastern Great Lakes. For us, it would just be a massive rainstorm, maybe some ice over the Poconos and Catskills. Uh, they should remake that TV show Numbers, but instead of solving crimes, it predicts the weather. I think people might get bored with that. Hey, I'm up to 9 followers on here. Very cool. On Twitch. I know I'm easy to be amused. What can I say? So now that this heavier band has just passed Freehold, now the rain is slacked off, but now the winds are picking up here. The top of the trees are really, really rocking. I'm getting winds from the east southeast at 20 miles per hour sustained, gust 35. Let's see here. We're up to 0.6 inches of rain, so we verified that in the forecast. That's good. So now, as this is pushing off towards Route 18, this is definitely for central and eastern Monmouth County, northeastern Ocean County, lifting up into Morris, and just it's going to be very nasty for the next couple of hours here in northeast New Jersey and New York City, between 2 and 4 p.m. And it's just going to go downhill from here. Meanwhile, if you're in Philadelphia, this is pretty much coming to an end for you. You'll have a few scattered showers lingering around, and you'll have the threat for some strong wind gusts. It looks like a lot of people are enjoying the storm coverage. Very cool. Well, we're going up to a little over 2 hours now in coverage, only one break, so that's good. Nice setup here. Very nice. This is a perfect alignment. So we got to 2 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay live, of course, but I'm also going to set up for the updates I have to put out for the afternoon and evening, so you can watch me do that live while we watch this heavy rainfall start to take shape and play out, because it is going to be continuing to be pretty nasty out there, that is for sure. So we want to make sure that one of the things I do is I got all the business pages out, I get everything all set up, and then I march my way through everything. In the winter, it's a lot more complicated because uh, throughout the region, obviously, if it's all rain, it's all rain. It's pretty straightforward. In the winter, it takes a lot longer to set up morning and night and evening, because what's going on in Cape May is a lot different than what is going on in, say, Northwest New Jersey or Connecticut. So you have to have at least 10 different forecasts in the winter, whereas in the spring through the fall, you generally have one forecast for the most part. And you make some tweaks to the timing, but it's usually the same idea. And so the way you go about forecasting, and I'll be doing this every time we have a live coach, kind of go over my philosophy. Um, it's not about the model data. I take a peek at it, I look at it, but it's about the idea of the forecast, right? So if you have an understanding of what your forecast plan is, and you understand the reasoning behind it, then you don't need to change everything unless you are confronted with some real observations that fundamentally change your thinking. So, obviously, right now, it's our observations. Our hurricane is racing off to the northeast. Again, based on the observations I'm seeing, this most likely is going to become extratropical pretty damn soon. I think faster than what's being forecasted, in fact. Look at this notch already showing up here. Very clear. Okay, so when you see this signal, this is the start of our change. Okay, you have still kind of the eye wall trying to fight back here, but you clearly have your cloud tops warming here and dry air starting to punch in. Very clear as day. Very, very nice setup. So we'll have that set up. We'll take that as a picture. And then in terms of model data, let's see here. I don't want to change that too much. Take a look at this, see if we got this new data coming in, and we do. You know what? This is exactly what I want to see for my winter forecast. I'll tell you that much. Look at this. Why do I want to see this? I don't want to see this down here right now. I want to see all this up here to build up what? My snowpack. So I am very, very happy to see this. This is really good news. Keep this up here until we're ready to sing Jingle Bells, okay? We don't need it in October. We don't need it in November. Keep it right here. Build up that snowpack. That's exactly what I want to see. No major tropical connections. That's good. See if we got new data here. The 12Z is in. Very nice. 500 millibars. Yeah, that's playing out pretty much as forecasted. This thing starts to fall apart. But hey, you can have all the lifting in the world. Doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of moisture. Let's see if that plays out. Yep, not much moisture. 700 millibars. And that's declining as well. So that means sky cloud cover. And then as far as chillier air, yeah, we have some instability in the atmosphere, not a lot. Still a little chilly, seasonable temperatures. All right, let's go back to the radar. I know what I want to do for this afternoon. See, when you have a game plan, it doesn't take that long to look at the model data that you need to look at, right? So you don't need to look at everything. I look at everything in the morning just to kind of get an idea. But once you establish a plan, then you know what you're looking for. Then you also know what you're looking for when there's something unusual that shows up. And if it shows up at one level, it's going to show up in other levels. So that's usually how you can really set up a forecast and have it play out. All right, so we're going to start our updates here this evening. I'll update the timing here. This evening through tomorrow. Dry conditions tonight through Sunday. Yeah, I could do that through Monday. There's not much moisture. You can have all the lifting in the world. If there isn't much moisture, there's not much to precipitate. That's how you get upper level lows with a lot of cloud cover and not a lot of rainfall. So yeah, I mean, I do this every afternoon, go through, but you notice how I didn't, even when you have a major winter storm, I'm pinpointing when I'm doing this for specific tells in the model data, in the forecast. And I don't need to look at 10 different models to do that. I know a lot of people like to do that. It's a waste of time. What you end up with is model paralysis, which just is It just sucks. It's a horrible feeling because you don't know, do I change it? Do I not? This model, that. I used to do this when I was younger, right? I look at the UK Met and then NAM and the GFS and then the European, and then the European doesn't match up with the Canadian, and you just get frozen because you don't know what to do, right? But then the NAM comes out at 66 hours or 84 hours, if you want to use that one, and it totally throws things off, and you don't know what to do and you don't know what to update. And everyone's saying, well, this one's showing this snow map, and you get frozen. And this happens a lot when you're a young meteorologist because they don't teach you, they teach you all the physics, they teach you all of the rules, but they don't teach you how to apply them when you're forecasting and how to apply that with the model guidance. I'll have to refill my coffee soon. So, what you have to do, what you have to learn to do, is you use the models as a guide, not as a crystal ball. Remember, and I actually trademarked this phrase, which actually, as of today, is mine. Meteorology, not modelology. That's what we're about here. We're not about following the latest model and freak out and to scare you. You create a game plan and you go with it. And then you adjust based on the observations, not on the whims of model guidance. Model guidance gives you a guide, it's guidance, it's not a crystal ball. So we have this updated. That's good. And notice out here now, it's gotten very quiet in Freehold. We're in the subsidence zone right now. So zoom in. We're in this zone right now, right here. So very heavy rainfall pushing into eastern Monmouth County. It's about to lift into Staten Island, Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's about to head into New York City. Very impressive. Dead as a doornail here. Winds are calm now. The rain is very, very light to almost stopped. We got well over an inch and a half of rain, so we verified there. Um, and then our next line is approaching Philadelphia. You're pretty much done. The final line's moving through New York City. Everything's about to go downhill. And let's see here. Oh, got some things I gotta see. Is this the general type of storm evolution that you would expect from Miller B's this coming winter? No. Miller B's, what you get is the primary low developing towards the coast. This is an example of a Miller B when you don't have the high latitude blocking that you need to force redevelopment towards the coast. You get basically the storm track cutting up into the Great Lakes. But I think the other version will happen more than this one. What kind of rainfall rates and expected rainfall in the heavier wall of rain? Looking like, let's see, I got about half an inch per hour, maybe a quarter, maybe 3/4 of an inch per hour out of this. It was pretty impressive. It definitely pushed me to verification. That's for so neat to see you do the nuts and bolts of forecasting. So educational. Thank you. I appreciate it. For my part, Union County rain picked up now. Heavy, still breezy, but strong wind gusts. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting there. You're about to get right in the heart of it. Let's see here. Knock this out here while we get new model data. Not new model data, new observations to come in. Should be any minute now. We'll refresh that. Yeah. We'll shift to the overnight forecast. Good. So we'll set that up and get this all rolled out. all the model data comes out. Very nice. Now, what's going to be a challenge this winter when I'm doing these forecasts is to pick up short waves that might be getting missed in the forecast. And what I mean by that is sometimes you're going to get these Arctic short waves that we're going to have to watch around the Arctic Circle that may not be properly sampled due to issues. And because of that, that could lead to missing model solutions. Now, if the AI model guidance performs as what has been promised, then what we should see is the AI model guidance picking up these errors first and saying, hey, something's not right, something's missing. Maybe it'll pick it up in the way that the satellite data evolves. But this is going to be where AI, European, whatever, becomes your saving mechanism in your forecasting. Because what you should be able to do is when you're looking at the observations and looking at the water vapor satellite picture, is you should be able to pick up those short waves. And a strong one's going to be evident, right? Via what I was just talking about, sinking air, rising air, whatever. So when you're picking that up, then you could go to the AI guidance, knowing that there's something up here and seeing if that model guidance starts to pick up on that change. And if it does, and if it's as advertised, it should, then what that could do is give you a good idea now, a little bit faster, of how that should change the storm evolution compared to what you were originally forecasting. So it should give you a faster warning bell in that respect. Okay. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Congrats on the train. Yep, thank you. Approaching 9,000 outages at JCP&L in New Jersey. No thunder with the line as it crossed Keyport, just very heavy rain. Let's see what other observations we have here. See if we have anything on X. Oh, we do have some. There you go. I'm going to like this and share it. JWC Hurricaneville. This is usually a very reliable individual. So if you want to follow them on X, they usually provide great stuff. Let's see here. 1.78 inches at Greg's Weather Center in South Plainfield, New Jersey. There's our heavy rainfall. Notice the trees aren't moving all that much. So what we've been seeing is very heavy rainfall, and then there's strong winds coming in once the rainfall subsides. Why is this the case? Okay, think about this. You're having air rising rapidly with the heavy precipitation. Then, as the precipitation subsides, that's because you're getting sinking air. That sinking air is taking that momentum at the mid levels and bringing it down towards the surface. So that's why you're seeing your strong winds at the tail end of the heavy rain or right after it ends. Right now, in Freehold, we're getting very light winds. It looks like we've passed the worst of this, in my opinion, in central New Jersey, especially for central Monmouth County and points westward. But you could see that sudden. Now, I bet you once this rain subsides, these trees start rocking and rolling again as that heavier band lifts through. All right. Go back to the radar. Let me zoom out on this. Refresh. Here's our occluded front, warm front, cold front. There's our line. There's our instability. Let's see. Yeah, this is all brand new. Akron's getting pretty good rainfall. Very nice setup here. Okay. Let me do my Melissa update. I want to make sure. Now, for premium members, some of you guys know this. You guys in the chat room know this. I do the premium. I do tropical updates for Melissa. What I typically do when we actually have a name storm, I do it morning, afternoon. In other than that, I do most of my updates in the morning for the tropical updates. begins transition. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on some of the factors that I was talking about earlier with our transitioning storm here as it is on its way out. It's getting ready to rock and roll. The great thing about a Mac is that when I save it here, it saves on my other system as well. I got 3 dual systems plus a Windows computer locked in, helping me out with these forecasting. So let's see here. Let's see. Starting transition to system. Try air beginning to punch quadrant of the storm, which is typical. Typically, when you start to see a transition, you see the southwestern side begin to collapse, and that is the telltale sign of the transition starting. That's the note. Forward speed will continue to increase through this evening, 30 miles per hour to the northeast. It's already moving 30 miles per hour right now as a 2 p.m. update. This storm is booking. It hanged around the Caribbean. It's gotten a little chilly. It's getting the heck out. That is essentially what's happening as it's falling under the influence of the polar jet stream. So that is clearing on out. By tomorrow morning, by tomorrow afternoon at this time, if not earlier, this thing is going to be post-tropical and no longer a theme. That's updated. Heavy rainfalls lifting through. See if we got any more observations around here. Oh wow, we got a couple. I think the News 12 New Jersey Dex follows my feed a lot just to make sure because I share a lot of stuff, which I'm always happy to do. Tough drive in Montclair, wet coat, wet hair, alerts in effect. That is true. One part of Union County being picked up now. Super easy, but strong wind gusts mixing in. We're actually, oh wow, we're actually starting to get breaks of sun. Let's go take a look at the satellite picture. Let's see. I'm going to use the geo color. That's it right there. That's right there. Okay. So um, you're seeing this is the final line right here. This is your main line that's going to produce the worst conditions. This is your final line. And now you have a lot of broken clouds here with scattered showers. You can see you can see the upper level low right there. Look at all the cumulus here. Nice line of cumulus just right around that upper level low. Look at that sharp cutoff in the lifting. Look at that. You can literally see the lines. There's your heaviest, there's your worst conditions. There's your break, which is passing over us. Here's your final line. And then here is your scattered stuff and just unsettled conditions, right? So you take that, that's essentially what's showing up here on our radar. Main line, lifting, just reaching the eastern Monmouth County coast, lifting up into Staten Island, northeast New Jersey, New York City, the Hudson River Valley around Peekskill, just starting to get into Connecticut, just starting to get into Long Island. And then back here towards to the west of Philadelphia, there's your scattered showers, occasional heavy downpour from time to time. Um, we have pushed over 1.75 inches here in Freehold, and we got another line still on the way. So we might actually touch that 2-inch line between this and all the scattered showers rotating through this evening. But this right here is your main event. Okay, let me zoom in. This feature right here is your main event as far as your worst conditions and strongest winds. And that is now Philadelphia, you're done. New York City, you're getting into the heart of this right now. And Long Island and Connecticut, you're just starting to get into it. Hudson River Valley, you're in the heart of it right now. So in some cases for the evening rush hour for the New York City Metro, the worst is happening right now. And by the time you start the evening, you will be in a good place. Hmm. Severe threat analysis is going to be easy after this clears out. There's our upper level low. I like using the satellite picture. I've always loved using the satellite picture. You know who I blame? Not blame, but it's mostly because of Jim Cantori, right? Growing up, I used to when he pulled this sucker out for the on the Weather Channel when I was a kid. I was just amazed. My eyes were like huge, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at because it had a lot of red, and I only see red. So it's finally something I can actually see, right? Because I'm severely colorblind. I'm so colorblind that when I went to eye doctor, Susan thought this was hilarious. The rest of my vision actually improved, but I was so badly colorblind that the doctor just gave up halfway through. She was like, "You're done. I've never seen a case this bad." It gives you a different perspective in the world, that is for sure. To New England. So yeah, I mean, again, part of this and this is where I evolved over time. And I'm thinking about doing educational courses in some point in the future, kind of teaching my forecasting price process. I think it'd probably be a good thing to try to do. So it's something I'm looking into where basically I'll teach courses on not so much like how to be a meteorologist, but once you are a meteorologist, okay, you got all the laws and you got all the equations, you got all of the talking points, but how do you make a forecast? How do you use this data and present it to the general public? That is something that you would think is very easy to do. But in reality, it's very difficult because sometimes you're too technical, sometimes you're not technical enough, and sometimes, like you're talking about, you're dealing with model paralysis and you don't know how to handle all the information that is coming in and figure out how to use it. So when you're dealing with that, you kind of have to figure out how do I best handle all this data? Like when I'm looking at this, you know, I shouldn't have to redo my forecast because I should already have a forecasting plan already locked in, right? So when I have a forecasting plan already locked in, a overall theme, then when I look at this, I should already have in my head, yeah, this makes sense. This pushes forward. I know exactly what I want to say about this and explain it in my discussion. Right now, I'm writing a premium discussion and breaking that down. Just wanted to check on this. Yeah, you guys in Staten Island just got whacked. Just got hit hard. Let's see if we got any observations from there. Let's see here. Let's see. So we may have clearing skies before sunset tonight. Yes, actually, I said that earlier at the very start of this. That I was expecting that. Will the back end of the storm center out west give us any showers? The center, the upper level low, will lift up towards the Great Lakes, but some of these scattered showers are going to rotate through this evening. I'm not going to do live coverage for that, but you'll definitely have a few lingering showers and some heavier downpours hanging around. Can't wait for live casts on winter storms popping in between meetings, but this is great. Awesome. I appreciate that, Steve. I really do. Hopefully, hopefully it's not disrupting any of the meetings too much. But I appreciate that. Newark Airport officially 1.15 inches as of the last totals on their 3-day tracker. That's going to jump. That's going to jump pretty good. We're up to 9 followers on Twitch. What do you know? Very cool. All right. One of the things I gotta learn is to. That was one hell of a downpour in Red Bank. Have to think drought is over. I wish. It was impressive though. It certainly helps. Tell you that much. So let's. Inches. At around 1 Celsius. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm just not too much of an extensive update for the severe threat analysis. As I go 90 hours out, again, you really shouldn't, unless there's a fundamental change in the forecast. The afternoon update should be pretty straightforward and pretty easy because your overall plan and ideas should be locked in pretty nicely to set that up. So let's get that out there and get that off to all of our subscribers. It's pretty cool. Let's see here. Newark Airport, no change there. Okay. So yeah, New York City, you're seeing the worst of this right now. Very, very nice rainfall. Let's see if we have any observations or updates in. No, nothing yet. Nice setup. So premium members, definitely check out today's long range thoughts, as I think it's going to make some of you guys very happy based on what we're seeing. And I just took a look at some of the 12Z guidance and no real change from my thoughts from earlier. I typically don't do long range thoughts updates in the afternoon because I really fundamentally make my plans and ideas on when I'm seeing in the morning. I actually think better in the morning. That's the thing. I'm more of a morning person. So as we get into the afternoon and evening, especially the evening, you see me do live chat in the evening. Um, I tend to, I need a little bit more coffee, need to drive a little bit more to really get myself focused. I'm definitely a morning person. I used to do all my college work in the morning and even my high school work in the morning because for some reason, I always was able to formulate ideas better in the morning. I don't know why. You guys might know if there being like a reason for that psychologically or something. But I've always been more of a morning person in that respect. I wake up at 4:30, 5 a.m. every day. I don't like drag. I just like spring up and I'm just ready to go. So in the afternoon and evening, I typically don't want to force myself to develop a whole new forecasting idea because I know that at least the way that my mind works and the way my brain works, I'm not going to put out the best new idea because I'm not as fresh. I rather take that data, digest it, wait in the morning, have a new fresh look at it, and then dive in, unless I'm really forced to make fundamental changes to the forecast. That's just undeniable. but I've learned that the hard way. Because you're trying to compete with everybody else, and then you have to learn very, very soon that you can only do what's right for you. You cannot go about and try to compete with what everyone else is doing. Let's see, about 11:20 this morning, we had a very loud boom in Percocet. It was just as the heaviest rain hit. I'm not sure if it was thunder. It was a big boom. We thought something got hit. It's possible. Uh, the okay, this is a great question. In the public in the on YouTube here. Did and let me make sure I don't have anything else here before I dive into this. My Davis has 1.42 inches in East Stroud. Pouring rain, small break in clouds, sunshine, clouds on the edge. Clouds are starting to break in Cape May. 1.04 inches of rain in northwest New Jersey so far. Winds haven't been that bad. Yeah, I didn't expect that in northwest New Jersey. You'll get some wind gusts. Exact opposite, always an evening person, but I have to be up to work in the morning. Yeah, I I'm like the exact. See, Susan is an evening person. She's not a morning person. Significant rain, roadways, street flooding, doing Parkway East in Monmouth County. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Not surprised at all by that. Look at that rainfall. And it's slowed down a bit over eastern Monmouth. So, and we're getting our next wave coming in right now. The winds are practically calm here in Freehold right now because we're not getting that mixing right now. And there's some of your convective rainfall out here over eastern Pennsylvania. Again, just a brief heavy downpour from time to time. But this is your main event. And maybe a little bit more moderate rain here. We're going to have a shot to push 2 inches here in Freehold. Outside shot. Now, the question was, did Melissa influence this setup being further west? There were some, I would say, minor influences, and I'm going to try to pull up, see, a 500 millibar map here. Perfect. Okay, so go back to 0Z. When this intensified, it allowed for this ridge to build back this way, right? So it kicked this upper level low back towards the eastern Great Lakes, which led to an interaction back here, okay? So as our storm, as Melissa intensified to an historic Category 5 hurricane, the outflow enhanced this ridge right here. Now, in this depiction, it's a much weaker storm, so the influence is not as strong. But, in fact, let me see. Let me try to pull something here. Okay, duplicate. I have an idea. Stick with me for a minute. I'm going to reset this. At America, 500 millibar heights. Let's see. There it is. That's what I wanted to see. Okay. So when this kicked up, it kicked this way. Just waiting for a new. So as this was lifting, it built this ridge up and kicked this to move this way. So as a result, you had your phase a little bit earlier, which led to this ending up here. If this hurricane was a little bit weaker, this ridge a little bit weaker then, and this setup would have been out here towards Pennsylvania rather than towards the Tennessee River Valley. Not a huge change. Very, very minor. Very, 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 very small change. But those small details makes all the difference when it comes to the forecast. So yes and no. Let's see here. Okay, so that got sent out, and now we just got one more discussion to do. That's all done. We'll do the public discussion next. Something more is going to be a good discussion tomorrow. A surprise a surprise Halloween nor'easter in 2011. I remember this. This is going to be a good read. You guys are definitely going to check that out tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, they put out a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms. I get it. I get it because of some of the instability. I think mostly it's just because of all the strong mixing. I don't really. They're covering their bases, which is what they're supposed to do. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with these convective cells here. And it's going to be elevated thunderstorms. So primarily the concern will be downburst wind gusts in these cells right here. There's our heavy rain. Let me add another one. We'll jump to Long Island. That picked up Philadelphia. I wanted Long Island. Add. There we go. Okay, so now we got a different look at this coming in. And you can just see this coming into the New York City Metro. Look at that. Look at that. That is marching right into Long Island, New York City, south side of Manhattan. Zoom in a little bit more on this. Right on 278, it's going to be a mess. Right around the south side. Jersey City just had some pretty impressive rainfall. It's really coming down nicely. Let's see if we have any. Good reminder how convective snowfall will have areas with heavy snow and areas near them where things are common. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Is this our pattern change storm that starts to step down to winter? Uh no, I don't think so. I think we're still about a couple weeks out from that. This is more a storm within line of what we should expect in this pattern. Wow, that is one impressive line. Marching its way through. Nice. Man, this is right at the time. It's approaching 3 o'clock. Some people start to leave for work around this time. The good news is that the back end of the worst of this is already reaching Staten Island. Let's zoom back out here. You can see we've got one more line coming through. This is far weaker than this one. This is your main event. This is where you're going to get some pretty impressive rain and wind out of this. Just checking to make sure. Okay. And we're doing well here. Just making sure I don't miss any of the questions out there. But no, I don't think this is a pattern change storm just yet. Yep. There we go. I'm having some of the plants rack up against the windows. creating a little bit of noise. The winds are starting to pick up a little bit now. So we're getting a little bit more mixing here in Freehold. Next line coming in. But again, the main event right now is pushed off the Jersey Shore. And we'll go to this radar. So the worst of it is pushed off the New Jersey coast now, just pushing off of northeastern Monmouth. It's pushing through New York City, up through the Hudson River Valley, and starting to enter Long Island and Connecticut. Taking a zoom out look, and there it is getting ready to push through Connecticut. So very heavy rainfall pushing into western Long Island now, and it's only going to get worse as it approaches East Rockaway and just passing through Manhattan Island right now. So far, so good. All right. Get our public update up in just a few minutes. Zoom out here. Change the overlay here. Zoom out. This looks a little too busy. There. Set up my evening discussion, evening public discussion. I guess you could bet what it's going to be, which is the worst of it coming to an end. Improving conditions tonight. How about that for a title? There you go. So we're pretty much done in Philadelphia. Okay. A few scattered showers. That's about it. Coming to an end in New Jersey. Northeast New Jersey is still in the worst of it. Monmouth County, Northeast Monmouth County, you're just about to get out of it. New York City, you're in the heart of it. Western Long Island, you're in the heart of it. Hudson River Valley, you could adjust to this one right now. See this marching right through. So let me zoom in on Manhattan here. It's literally lifting right through all of Manhattan and heading up towards Yonkers. And then you got this impressive cell right here. So I'm expecting some pretty good rainfall rates out of this. Let's see what the hourly rainfall rates are in this. Wow, look at that. You're in this level here. You're over a half an inch. You're pushing 1 inch in terms of the rainfall rates. Northeastern Monmouth. Let's see, you're around a half an inch per hour on Staten Island. Just had a lightning bolt around New York City, pushing over 3/4 of an inch of rain here in approaching Western Long Island. Nice, very impressive. So the HRR actually did a really good job. in the timing, and also is expecting between 2 and 4, and we're pretty much at 3, and that's exactly where we're at right now with this line, with a lightning strike reported. Great coverage. Rain has let up. Very light now. Getting breaks in the clouds in Union County happened pretty quickly. Yeah, I mean, the winds are nearly calm here in Freehold. It's not bad at all right now, actually. Really, it really isn't. Not seeing, so we might have gotten out of this without any power outages. Fingers crossed. All right. So we're coming up on the 3 o'clock hour. I'm going to take a short break. I got to refill my coffee. It's empty. So I'll be right back, and then we'll do the rest of this coverage, and we'll see how this whole evolution takes shape. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, we are back. Let's go right into the latest updates here. We'll update the radar. And put me back up here. There we go. All right. Uh, so let's see what we have in terms of our observations, and we'll check out to see what everyone's saying. Well, our heavy rainfall is certainly marching its way through the New York City metro right now. It's passing through towards the east end of Manhattan Island. It's marching through the western half of Long Island. East side of Long Island is still very quiet. Pretty much we're at an end here in New Jersey. Hudson River Valley continues to see some pretty impressive rainfall, starting to lift up into portions of Connecticut. Right now, we have in Freehold 1.9 inches of rain total so far, and we still have one more band to march its way through. Zoom out here. There's our band lifting through. Right now, it is very calm here. Winds have completely shut down here in Freehold. But we still have that one more band to march its way through. And there's our scattered showers. A lot of this is going to be lifting northward into northeastern Pennsylvania. And you'll get a few showers lingering, kind of passing their way through um, southeastern Pennsylvania and western New Jersey as we move on through the evening. But this was really the main event here. And like I said, most of New Jersey, you're pretty much done. Philadelphia, you're done. New York City, you're still in the middle of it. Still a few lightnings showing up, lightning bolts showing up here, right around Hoboken. This band is just producing a ton of rainfall right now, and it continues to lift northward. So let's see what we have for observations. Uh, the affiliates looking for stuff. Okay, card is left. Let's see here. Great coverage. Rain is let up, very light now in Union County. Starting to get water rescue calls in Northeast Monmouth. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit. It was really, really bad over there with that rainfall and with the winds. Man, it was really rough there. And I'm not surprised we're seeing flooding, some urban flooding, and some concerns out there. And that whole thing is lifting up through western Long Island now, and the Hudson River Valley. Good coffee. Man, my voice, I gotta learn this one thing with okay, so is the volume okay on this? What is this? Can't hear you, your volume is very low. Oh, okay, so all right, so it's someone else's, it's not an issue. So everyone can hear me okay, right? I mean, I don't have any issue. Always double checking this. Seems like it's okay. All right, well, looks like it's fine. Okay, saying thanks as always. Great coverage. I've got to log off now. Okay, Card. Absolutely. David, it's good to see you here. Good to see you know, volume is a bit low. All right, well, how about now? Let's see here. Yeah, it's on the right setting. One of the things I'm probably going to get for Christmas, or at least I'm going to look for, is a new mic setup. Maybe have like one of those professionals that drop down. I don't know. I'll have to see. No, I'm not muted. Whole system. Maybe have like one of those professional. Shouldn't be. No, this is working just fine. I don't know. Something must have happened here. Maybe I clicked on something. Should be right. I'm turning it all the way up. How's this? Is this better? Maybe that was the issue. So I'm turning this all the way up now. See if this works. It's clear, just quieter than usual. Do you think any of the convective stuff setting up in southeastern, central eastern Pennsylvania will happen here? Not likely. Oh, it's better now. Yeah, see, I fixed this thing. I fixed the sound level on the on Ecamm. I might have knocked it down. That's probably it. There we go. See, fixed it. All right. See, now, see, this is why we're doing this test run, because I can test all this equipment. So there's this sound level on Ecamm, and I guess I might have knocked it down. So I raised it up, and it's much better now. There we go. See, that's why we're learning this now, so we don't do this during the winter storms. So I don't think the convective nature of that we're seeing in Pennsylvania is going to be focused over us. And let's take a look at the latest HRR guidance here. There'll be some scattered showers, but I don't think the strong convection. I think the strong convection is going to be lifted up into northeastern Pennsylvania. By about 9 o'clock, we're pretty much done with everything as far as rainfall. But there's still some scattered showers here and there. I'm not going to do live coverage with this, 8 o'clock at night. I'll probably come to an end between 5 and 6 tonight with this lifting through. Let's see. All these storms still strengthening as they head towards central Long Island. Yeah, they are. You have perfect divergence and diffluence out here. See, I would have put the advisory out for Long Island for strong winds, personally. Um, you have some showers out here. That's all lifting northward. You'll get a few pop-up showers, but nothing really heavy. That's what's going to push this over 2 inches here in Freehold. But really, again, your main event's pretty much unfolding right here. Let's refresh this. See if we get some new data. That is fun. Look at this. Look at the convection here. Very nice. It's just going to march right through from southwest to northeast, heading through Stamford, heading towards New Haven this evening. You know where the rush hour is going to be bad is going to be central Long Island, Bridgeport, southwestern, western Connecticut. Right in the heart of rush hour, this is going to be marching its way through. And it's going to be very heavy. So if you're driving out to Long Island for your rush hour out of New York City or towards Connecticut, it's going to be pretty rough in this area right here, right around the heart of the rush hour. You sound like you might be getting sick. No, I'm okay for my voice. I've been talking for over almost 3 hours straight. The feed's gone 3 hours, 21 minutes, taking consideration breaks. I'm talking about 3 hours. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a lozenge after this, just to make sure. Basically, some green tea and honey that would go a long way. So I'm in northern Morris County, and I think we're pretty much done. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much almost everyone in New Jersey's done out of this. So I get it. There's some drop off, and right now the focus is basically New York City on eastward. New York City, Hudson River Valley, Long Island, and Connecticut. That's where we're seeing the worst. That's where we're going to be focusing. So other than that, I feel fine. I'm good. But thank you for the concern. Good. So far, just making sure we got all the social media covered and we get the live chat covered. Coming to an end on that. So what I'm expecting as this line is lifting through is that this to maintain itself. You're going to get a rapid cutoff and one more line. This line's now starting to get its way to push into freehold right now. Let's go into the Philadelphia version here. And there's your showers lifting up into eastern Pennsylvania. So it's Hazleton, East Stroudsburg, Coatesville, Norrisville, pretty much bypassing Philadelphia for now, but we'll see a few showers later on. This is our back end of the main event, right? So core, a little break, back end, right here marching through New Jersey. Right, let's change the overlay. There we go. See this even better. Just the worst. So Philadelphia clearly done. Here we have the rain starting to push into Monmouth, into that heavier rainfall band. We'll zoom in. So you can see we have some moderate downpours here, but nothing like what we're seeing here on Long Island. This is our last shot. This is probably what's going to push me to 2 inches. So all of Connecticut is going to just have a rough evening with this line. Easily 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain. You have your wind gusts all lined up with this line. It's all mature now. The thing is that while I was lifting through Philadelphia Metro and New Jersey, it was developing. Now it's mature. So you're going to get the full brunt of this as it's lifting through Long Island and Connecticut. So when this was back here, it was just starting to form. It was just starting to develop. Now it's fully developed and mature. So you're going to get the worst of this line just lifting through this entire area here through this evening. So expect delays with your rush hour. Expect very poor traffic. It's going to get pretty rough out here. Connecticut, Long Island, Hudson River Valley, just exiting New York. And then here's your back edge marching through central New Jersey and northeast and eastern New Jersey. Western New Jersey, you're pretty much done. Southeastern New Jersey, you're pretty much done. We have a few convective cells out here in central and eastern Pennsylvania. Got one lightning bolt out of it so far. This is going to be capable of like a moderate downpour out here. And then here's your upper level low back here. The huge surf is two combinations. One, all the stirrup from Hurricane Melissa. And two, you had a very strong southeasterly wind driving all that water right into the coastal plain. So the combination of those two would enhance the surf, and that's why you're seeing some impressive waves out there. Let's see, got Hopsy. Thank you for all you do. We'll be on as we head into winter. Snowblower being delivered on Saturday. Oh, don't jinx it, David. If the forecast doesn't work out, I'm going to blame him for getting the snowblower. But thank you as always. Again, I love my premium members. They always ask us some amazing questions. But as I expected, with the storm lifting northward, getting a little bit quieter in the live coverage here. Let's see if there's any change in the HRRR guidance. No, not really. Pretty much the same idea. Name guidance is the same. And let's check out Halloween for tomorrow. There's our rainfall. The European did a pretty good job on this as well. European and NAM did a very good job in HRR the day of. Let's see for tomorrow. I think tomorrow afternoon, let's say about 3, 4 p.m. When you look at this, if you take it verbatim, you'd put showers in here, and that's most likely what a app would do. But as a meteorologist, what do I know? I know that the relative humidity at 850 millibars down to the surface is at 40%. So this is scattered cloud cover, not rainfall. Okay, this is something you learn when you look at the whole skew-T of the atmosphere. But because of that skew-T in the atmosphere, you know you're going to have mixing. And so that brings you to your winds for tomorrow. This is tomorrow afternoon for all you trick-or-treaters out there. It'll be dry, okay? Uh, it's going to be awfully windy. Look at these winds. Holy smokes. You're talking about sustained. These are not gusts. This is sustained. Anywhere between generally 15 to 20 miles per hour. Um, if you go into the interior, let's say more like 10 to 20 miles per hour. So your gusts are easily pushing 30, 35 miles per hour. So again, I'm going to say this. If you have little kids, hold on to them tight. It's going to be pretty nasty out there with those winds. And I would strongly suggest if you have anything that is loose and able to get blown away, secure it to the best you can. Try to protect it, you know. These will be westerly winds, so that's certainly some good news. In terms of any type of coastal flooding, it's going to drive the coastal flooding out. Um, Possibly the battery's going to have some issues though, and some of your barrier islands in the other direction on the Jersey Shore will have some issues. This portion of Cape May, Western Cape May, on the Delaware Bay is going to have some coastal flooding issues. Don't be surprised the banks around Trenton are a little bit imposed on that as well. Let's see, but everything else should be fine, I would think. But I'm very concerned about these winds with kids out there. Okay. Especially if you have anything loose, try to secure it because you really don't want to have something fly out, hit some like 4-year-old or something. So just be aware of that. That huge giant skeleton that you have in your front yard, um, make sure that's tied down because that's going to get blown away. There's no doubt about that. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy. It's pretty good interaction here on social media for honestly, I mean, not like a winter storm. So that actually makes me pretty happy. I'm really glad about that. Tells me that this is going to be successful. And I like being successful. Now, if you want to help, because I know that there's 1,000 views on this on X, for example, it goes a long way to like, share, and subscribe. What I mean by that is on YouTube, on X, whatever you like to use, whether it's on Twitch or if you're here on YouTube watching this, please do like, share, and subscribe. At least subscribe because then at least you know when my updates are out. But actually, it's strange how the algorithms work in social media. You have to interact a lot, which we're trying to do, right? And you also have to like. So I'm asking you because then this channel gets pushed out more than some guy who's, let's say, screaming about a Category 6 hurricane. Okay. I don't blame those people putting out that content. Most of them are not meteorologists. 99% of them are not meteorologists. They're just looking to make a quick buck and they're taking advantage of the algorithms out there. And the only thing I could do is ask you to like, share, and subscribe to these channels, social media channels, because then that pushes real content like my content or other meteorologists that I share content. Um, and put us in the forefront rather than some joker putting out a forecast from 15 days out on the GFS. So if we want to address this problem, then I need your help, and I greatly appreciate it. I mean, I've been doing this now almost 20 years, and it's a dream to be able to do this. And being part of the CDM board is a huge honor. And now next year being the chairman, talk about a wild ride, right? I mean, from nothing to this. So, as always, if you can, help out. And then we can really go forward with drowning out some of the nonsense out there, and really help to provide content. And it doesn't have to just be my content. Anyone that's an actual meteorologist that has a seal that you trust, make sure that you share their content, right? Because that goes a long way in putting voices out there that are doing this, hey, look, obviously to make a living, but also doing this out of integrity and looking out for the safety of the general public. So just want to put that out there, make sure I say that as we start to wind down our live coverage with the worst of this event now moving into Western Long Island, the Hudson River Valley, approaching Connecticut, New York City, you're almost done. Got one more line. Central New Jersey, let's say Saraville down to Lakewood, down to Beechwood. One last line to go. And then after that, just a few scattered showers. Philadelphia, you can see, is pretty quiet and pretty dry. Taking a look at that line in central New Jersey, I mean, I'm looking at right now, it's basically moderate rainfall. Not much in the way of winds with this final line. Okay, so I think the wind threat is pretty much coming to an end with this main line, and then we'll deal with the strong winds for tomorrow. So it's kind of like a two-parter, right? So this line here is not really producing much in the way of winds. Trees are pretty quiet. Winds are relatively light. We're pushing very close to 2 inches of rain here in Freehold. So we're at 1.92 inches of rain for the total event, which is pretty much right within the forecast. So that's pretty nice to see. And yes, if this was snow, you can multiply by 10. It would have been pretty impressive. But we also know with a southeast wind, it wouldn't be snow. Let's see if we have any requests in the trash here. No, we're pretty quiet right now in the live chat room. That's good. And in X, so far so good, not sick. So that's good. Okay. So we still got to march through. Once we get to Central and Eastern Long Island, we'll probably come to an end on the live coverage because by then, I think we pretty much have this nailed down. And New York City is pretty much coming to an end. Hoboken's coming to an end. Really, the core of it right now is in East Rockaway, Florham Park, uh, God, what is that? Mamaroneck? Jeez, I don't know. Terrytown, I know. New City, I know. Up to Stony Point. Very impressive heavy rainfall marching its way through. It's approaching Stamford, picking up. Bridgeport, you're about to pick up. Hartford, you're on the extreme end. You're about to see that pick up as well. Let's see if we can add. Okay. Let's see if we can add Boston. So you get a better view of Connecticut here. You can see it's not picking up the strongest part of this line just yet, but you can see the rain starting to pick up here in eastern, should I say central Connecticut, starting to push into central Long Island. Really get a good view of this event right here. Very impressive line. And let's look at the rainfall rates out of this right now. 1 hour rainfall rates. Look at that. Boy, that's going to push your forecast up, right? Look at this. You're in the range of easily over a half an inch per hour in this rain band. That is going to lead to urban flooding. Okay. This is also going to lead to very poor visibility and just rough conditions overall. Wow. Impressive. There's your rainfall marching right through with our primary line. This is your moderate rainfall back here. Zoom back, and there is your setup. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to get some breaks in the clouds out of this. Refresh this fast. And let me jump to not any changes here. Let's see if we have any changes in New York City. Let's see here. So we have a squall line, very heavy rainfall. It's 5 minutes ago. There you got your flood warnings here from 9 minutes ago. Let's see here. I mean, not surprising. Special weather statement 24 minutes ago. So yeah, I mean, we're seeing some very impressive heavy rainfall out of this whole event in a very short period of time, which is why we're seeing the urban flooding. Okay. And the good thing is, I think that everyone was pretty much fairly warned on this event. That's playing out well. Now, what about the rest of the weekend after this whole thing blows out of here? Let's refresh that. And really, it improves significantly after this. Storm pulls out. Obviously, it's going to be windy tomorrow. But then for the weekend, as we have our clocks go back, it's going to be pretty quiet. Not much in the way of any type of activity through Sunday. We have maybe an isolated shower on Monday to Tuesday. It looks a little bit overdone, but we'll see how that plays out. Monday night into Tuesday morning. Tuesday's quiet. Wednesday's quiet. Next threat for rainfall, maybe a few showers on Thursday. Next Friday is going to be quiet again. I don't see any major storms, or as one would put it, pattern changing storms in this pattern yet. I don't expect anything like pattern changing event happening until we see the evolution of that ridge in Russia. And that is going to be a 15-day process. So over the next 15 days, we're going to be keeping a very careful eye on some of the long range guidance out here um, and see how this looks. Let's refresh to see if we got any new data here. So what I do like seeing is a lot of below normal heights over northern Canada and around the Aleutians. That's what I want to see right now. But everything's just kind of focused more towards the Asian side, which is fine. And the AI guidance kind of showing the same thing, showing a lot of waviness here. We continue to get upper level lows in the northwestern Atlantic between the Canadian Maritimes and Iceland, bouncing back and forth, which opens up either your east base or west base negative NAO patterns. But what I like seeing in our pattern of all, and we talked about this last night, is this evolution showing up and this evolution showing up. I don't need a quote unquote wintertime pattern in early November or even mid November. But what I like to see are the pieces starting to come together. And it's certainly what I'm seeing here, but I do expect a relatively quiet mid November around here, which I think everyone would appreciate. Okay, there's our heavy rainfall. Let's take a look and see. Boston still a little bit too far to the west. So yeah, I mean this is it's starting to lose a little bit of its punch. Let's try to get down base reflectivity. There it is. Yeah, it's starting to lose a little bit of its punch. Why is that the case? Let's pull up the water vapor. Could be losing some of the instability due to time of day. Yeah, you're starting to see it focus more here, the divergence and diffluence. In fact, I bet you here. Okay, so let's see 300 millibar analysis. Yep, there it is. Your stronger divergence and diffluence is setting up in New England now. It was over us. Now it's starting to set up towards New England. So that's why this still packs a hell of a punch. Don't get me wrong, but little slight decrease in intensity. There was a flood that hit us, New Jersey. Yep. So if we have any additional observations out there. Yeah, so that's what's happening. Let me go back to this. Yeah, you see, you're seeing your stronger lifting and lifting northward. Some residual back here on Long Island, some substance here. And it's all starting to lift northeast. So I expect this line to start moving, accelerating a little bit faster moving forward. Very impressive, though. Wow. Yeah, this is going to continue to cause flooding as it's moving into central Long Island and into Connecticut. Even with some weakening, it's still going to produce that. Maybe some mesoscale notches in here. That could just be because of the radar. We'll see. And it continues to get worse over central Connecticut and eventually eastern Long Island as this lifts through. So let's see if there's any other. All right, with the focus coming to an end here, not seeing much in the way, and we're going on almost 4 hours. I think we're going to come to an end at this in about another 15 minutes. We'll end this at 4 o'clock, given interaction. And I pretty much got out of this what I needed in terms of learning what I need to fix for our winter storm coverage. But I think 4 hours is a pretty good amount of time too. So especially for a rainfall event. This is going to continue. I'm expecting a lot of flash flood warnings out here in central Long Island, Babylon, South Huntington, Holbrook, Stony Brook, all these locations out here. Pretty good rainfall. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, but I do think that this line is going to start to back off on its intensity, though, as we're losing some of that punch that was originally enhancing this line. We're loading a new update. 1 second. There we go. Excuse me. All right. So not a lot of lightning. It's a reduction of lightning. I haven't seen many lightning strikes. And the reason why I look is 346. So during this time of year, your instability starts to decline. Yeah, we have some rainfall, got moderate rainfall setting up here. We're pushing towards that 2-inch mark here in central New Jersey. This is again your main event. Your showers are lifting northward. Pretty good rainfall, though, setting up here. Very nice. So let's see here. With live coverage pretty much covered the main event, we don't have any more members in the chat room now. So I am going to cut this a little short because I pretty much got in what I needed as far as the test run for this. So for the winter, we will basically lock this in for the whole storms. Let me turn this off. So we'll lock this in for the whole storms. We'll do our coverage from beginning to end with our winter storms. We'll do our breaks when I need to. But overall, I think this is going to set up pretty nicely. I hope you guys enjoyed this live coverage of this event as our heavy rain is lifting through the region. And as we get ready for our winter season, come make sure you visit here to watch the latest evolution of our winter storms and the most accurate forecasts around for the northern mid Atlantic. Thank you again for following, and as always, stay safe out there.